Another pair. A 2-run bomb by William Contreras makes it 5-0.
A 1-1 pitch here for Arenado. He swings, ground ball, base hit center field. Here comes Wynn. Here comes the throw. It's a Redbird winner as Wynn scores standing. Light up the night in downtown St. Louis.
It is. It's a long process. I think back, like even when I was in the NFL, they think about training camp, but even in the NFL, you have preseason games and it's broken up and your travel day and, days off. And in college football, it's totally different. We've been going for a month straight and coach has done a good job of, breaking it up here and there when we can, but it's, we've been facing a lot of, red and white and ready to see a different color.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. What's up, DB?
Hi.
How you feeling?
Fudge. I'm good.
It's game day.
Yeah, it is game day. I'm hyped. Is this me?
I think you're the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's weird how that works.
Well,
it? One.
Well, I'm the third one, so it's not like directly in order.
Do you know what that's from?
What's that?
That horrible Colorado take yesterday. That knocked you down a few pegs.
I've been third before that. It's all right.
In the pole position. Did you put yourself on punishment?
No, I feel fine about it.
Oh my gosh, I just sent myself to the corner.
No, I feel good. I'm fine.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't. It's so. Who's vouching for you? Like, who came alongside you and said, "Guy, you know what? That was a sweet take."
I don't know if there was anybody that said it was a sweet take.
that was sweet.
I did have a few people be like, "I get where you're coming from."
No, they're just trying to support you. Are they in your support group?
No, they were just randos on the stream.
Randos. Like
people,
like right hand to left hand, or what? Like, what do you mean?
No,
randos?
like people I only know on the internet.
Oh, internet people,
randos.
Yeah, today's game day. I am. It is going to be a heck of a day.
Yeah,
I didn't have the heart because it's the day of, but I'm in Nebraska City.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got quite the schedule today.
Yeah, that took some pre-planning because the game is bumped up 3 hours, which makes our report time at, I think we're 1:40 showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the players got to be ready to go for our next segment, which starts at 2:12. So, yeah, it is going to be a very quick day. We're hoping to beat the storm. My man Bill Ramby, of course, and the rest of the meteorologists keeping us up to speed. Took a little peek at old Rusty this morning just to compare and contrast.
Think you're going to get it in before the storms get here?
It's going to be close.
Yeah.
Like if they're accurate and it's 6 o'clock, 5:36. We'll be close. I mean, as long as it doesn't lightning, like it can rain. I don't care if it rains on us. But we may be, if both teams run the ball, man, get that thing over.
90 minutes, let's go.
Yeah, it is going to be. So we do like the fact that there's a ton of heat, and we hope that it's muggy. And I mean, because I think we have good depth, so we're going to see. We have so many guys that their role has increased significantly. I am very curious to see if we can handle it.
Well, I guess the 2 times a year I would think that being deep would be most advantageous are early when it's hot,
mm-hmm.
and then late when you're banged up.
Yeah.
So
you do need good health.
Because you've got, nobody feels good by November, right?
Yeah.
So getting those guys, having some options there.
Fresh. You want to be fresh?
So fresh and so clean.
Yeah. So we're rolling. And the only positive I could see, well, there's 2.
Okay.
One, is it fresher? So fresh and so clean.
Fresher is
I'll feel a lot more refreshed
mm-hmm.
and ready to go for our breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah.
Since I have to be on my best behavior in front of people. So what am I going to do during the breaks? Because that's usually when I act up.
You can just keep your headset on.
So are we gonna do our thing where we argue incessantly,
like fraternize,
or I make up songs and I dance, or I make fun of shit? Like, am I gonna have to
it's all up to you how much you want to let people behind.
I already made up one song about little haircut over there.
I know.
Did you like the?
It was a good song. I also learned about a new denomination that I hadn't heard of before.
What's that? Oh, African Methodist Episcopalian.
Yeah, I had not. I was
St. John AME. Shout out. I think it's the oldest church in the state of Nebraska.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a thing. I didn't. It's a denomination I'm not familiar with.
I don't even know why that came up, but of course.
Because one of the songs you were singing, I asked what it was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you were like, oh, it's an old church song.
Yeah.
That's not exactly what you said, but it ended up. You get down to the guts of it, and it was it's an old church song.
Yeah, I'm nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much you want to let people behind the curtain, how much you want to let them see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, gonna be tough. I'm just worried about having that door open.
I think we're gonna have to tell people door needs to be closed, otherwise DB is gonna have a meltdown.
Well, it's in my. It's right.
It's like in your sight line.
Yeah,
it's like a little cracked right now. I'm surprised you aren't. You got the shakes.
Yeah, it's like because Numbnuts over there doesn't appreciate a good door close.
Yeah, you gotta.
He just kind of does whatever the heck he wants to over there.
You gotta get that thing high and tight, just closed up there.
So I'll be a little.
You'll be better than you would have been if you was a 7, right?
Right.
Because then you got to go 7,
and we could have had a delay, and then we'd had to wait,
lightning.
and then I'm gonna be staggering in
and then you got to go catch Colorado. That's NDSU after.
So that's 1A.
Yeah.
So
that the time change helped you out a lot on that.
Yeah. So I can watch that. Look, little haircut. Thank you, buddy. He said, I look my age now. No, I'm 35. You still look funny.
Younger than I am, Shane.
No, so I'm cool with that. I get to eat something decent too.
Yeah.
Right. I'm much
instead of eating at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. 6:30, 6:45 is a lot more agreeable.
More normal.
Yeah, I can handle that.
Yeah. Eating heavy stuff before bed's tough.
Yeah. So shout out to
that's how you know I'm getting old.
Right? Both athletic directors, our coaches, because they had to come together quickly. I mean, Coach Martin's got to be cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Limongi's got to be cool with it. ADs, who both I know really, really well, good men. You got to get officials.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than it seems. Just be like, oh, let's just play a 4.
Yeah. Coach Limongi's like, hey, can you come up to school? I want to talk about potential schedule tomorrow. He had. I'm gonna not make fun of him because we have to talk to him in like 43 minutes. My man I screenshot it. He wrote down every rain percentage on the hour with the temp. And we were going to compare and contrast it with like the meteorologists around town. He's like, we kind of like Coach Ruler, that episode. We are ready to play a game. He's like, we are not moving this game. I want to play it tomorrow. We need to play. And I just was like, can't play at 1, Coach. But it's only 18% chance of rain. We can get it in. I'm like,
I mean, you could play at 1.
I'm like, hey, TK, Kirkman, where's everybody going to park? We have students. That was not going to work.
Get a little shuttle from, I don't know.
Yeah, so I can't imagine. I think everybody's moved up. I think Elkhorn Gretna's going early.
A bunch of people did, yeah. It's so
hopefully parents because it's a big gate game.
Yeah.
So I hope.
That was my concern is I don't know how many adults are going to be able to go with the early start.
So I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is we thought we would be better off early rather than folks wanting to sit through the rain.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you have a delay or if it's
like Bison Dele.
I'm not familiar.
I can't even remember who he used to be, but he's a really good basketball player. Team light skin. He had the little natural. He was left-handed. He was nice.
Delonte West?
No. Although hot sauce is legit. Every time I think of LeBron, never mind.
You guys use it all the time. What is it?
I don't know.
Bolstered?
Come on, man. Bison
What does
Dele.
bolstered mean?
Google it.
Bison.
You'll know. Left-hander. Used to have a kind of a nice.
Oh, Jason Williams.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Used to be a really good player. Arizona, right? Was he Arizona? Where's Jason Williams?
Looking.
You see what I mean when I say natural? Did you see a picture? That's what brothers kind of call it, natural. Just a little itty bitty thin.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. It's not really a fro.
Oh no, Brian Williams.
Brian Williams.
Brian Williams. Jason Williams was the guy.
Where did Brian Williams play college basketball?
I'm looking.
Come on, man.
I'm working on it. Maryland and then Arizona.
Yeah. Okay.
You got it. You got it covered.
Bison Dele.
I remember him for his 1 year with the Bulls.
So different kind of Dele.
Yeah, no, it's a delay.
Yeah.
Or delay.
So just don't delay anything long enough for us to get back home and for me to watch television.
Yeah, you don't want
I will
that.
have zero opportunity to get anything ready to eat too
What do you mean?
for dinner. Can't take anything out to thaw. Nobody's going to be home.
That's true.
I mean, normal people got to work. Their schedule's really screwed up
Today?
Oh, early dismissal. Like it's
Are
not
they
easy.
letting everybody out early?
So I tried not
Or
to
is it
pay
just the
attention.
football players? Because, I mean, obviously you've got a 1:40 check time, then
I think they
You
have
gotta
to let
get-
students out early.
really?
I do.
Because what time do they normally got? 3?
Thursday, yep, 05 or 10.
So, well, can they just walk right over to the stadium? Good to go?
I think they got to get them out.
Oh, for the buses and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
So it's
forget
not-
about the logistics of it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. And you want to probably want to try and clear the parking lot so you can
That's
get people in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That gets tricky.
Well, knowing Coach Martin, I'm trying not to be in his hand just because that's my former life. But I can't imagine he'll want his guys in the building. Knowing him, they'll probably show up about the time where they're going to take the field and get ready to go. He does not mess around with waiting around,
loitering around.
Nope. He is not that.
So they get ready over at North, and then
he'll
basically
probably like back in the day, he would just half rack them, have them bring their jersey over their shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Sometimes we wouldn't even go in the buildings.
Yeah, you just throw it on, good to go.
And ready to go. So I mean, we'll see. I'm excited.
I mean, it's game 1. You got to be.
Very,
It's
very
exciting.
excited. Not quite as excited for Colorado, North Dakota State.
Why is that?
No, I'm just playing.
You just starting to root for Colorado?
Not us. I'm telling you, go to your room.
That's fine.
That's what I just wanted to tell you. Go to your room. I was distraught for 2 hours.
You're still distraught. You're still talking about it.
because I can't. I wanted you to come today and say, you know what? That's kind of a hot take. I thought about it. It is pretty ridiculous.
No,
Nothing
I don't
would
feel that way
please
at
me
all.
more.
Are you sure?
No. Like, I think rooting is the wrong word.
Well, you did at least give that some thought.
Well, yeah, because that's not what I meant. That's just kind of the context the conversation took.
Semantics here, huh?
Well, you know me.
Yeah. Wiggle.
No, rooting is too strong of a term because I don't want to root for Colorado, but I do think I don't know which situation benefits Nebraska more. And if Coach Rule were to come up to me, and he would never do this, but if he were to say like, yeah, I would rather play Colorado coming off a win versus a loss, then I would be like, okay, well, let's hope Colorado wins then. I wouldn't root for them.
Oh, so you've truly become the puppeteer, huh? Your fawn game is that strong where you're
because I think,
but I love him. I just want to do as he wants.
Well, I just use him as an example because he would have the best pulse of like his team.
Yeah.
But like if somebody if there was some cosmic football being that was like, hey, Nebraska has a better chance of winning.
What was it? What would him or hers name be?
Cosmic football? I don't know. Like Lord Lombardi? I have no idea.
Levante?
NCAA-TIA?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my family there's like a lot of gods in Hinduism, but football is not one of them.
I tell you, speaking of God, boy, he made you special.
Like you got Shiva and you got Krishna and Vishnu, but none of them govern football specifically. So, no, but if the football gods were like, hey, Nebraska's chances of winning are better if Colorado beats NDSU.
That's funny. My buddy has a dog named Shivu.
Shiva or Shivu?
Boo.
Yeah, that's not the Indian one. I mean, it might be just like a misprint, but
you think he typoed a name?
Yeah. That happens on like birth certificates all the time. You like fat finger or something, and all of a sudden somebody's name is Shavandre.
Oh shoot!
You know,
right?
It just happens.
Yeah.
I still think
want
that
them to have the pulse of Nebraska.
I still think that's what happened with Anthony Hardaway. Somebody just misprinted that thing.
What do you think it was supposed to be?
Anthony.
Yeah.
Like an actual name, Anthony.
Yeah. Sometimes THs and Fs. I
just thought, somebody like had a little bit of a speech impediment. What'd you name your kid? Anthony. Anthony. Okay, got it.
Got him!
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with Penny.
Exactly. Grandma's like, that's a stupid name. We're gonna call you Penny. Mad at your mom. It's a dumb name. You can't ask people questions about naming their kids while they're still on the painkillers from the birth,
Incredible.
Because then they're like, yeah, I said Anthony. Yep, Anthony, got it. We saying Pam or Pan? No, but if the football gods are like, hey, Nebraska has a better chance of beating Colorado if Colorado wins against NDSU, then I'm like, okay, I'm in. There's no way to know that, obviously. I just think there's a scenario in which that's true.
All right. I'm gonna let you off.
Like, don't act like it's crazy that that the Sanders ego could get out of control because they beat an FCS team. Like, you're telling me that's impossible.
No, I think with his background being at JSU, he understands.
See, I actually think that might make it worse.
Do you?
Yeah, because he basically
you've never had one positive thought about Deion, so I imagine that you think that would make it worse.
No, I thought about this a lot actually, the Jacksonville State thing, because I was like,
actually,
well, I think sometimes.
By the way, where has Steven been?
He was here yesterday. He was in the stream last couple days.
I didn't pay much attention.
I think he's going to be here tomorrow.
Love and admiration for one another.
Because I told him he has.
Which you think he'd bring his wife?
I told him I think he is bringing his wife actually.
Oh my god!
I think he said it. I think he said he was. Because I told him he had to do as well. Actually,
what if he doesn't wear glasses?
Doesn't matter. You can still do the thing. Or you can buy like those blue light glasses that like don't actually do anything.
It's gonna be so awkward.
Why? He's named after one of my favorite players of all time, Steve Young.
Even with a PH?
That's fine. It's close enough.
Wow.
It's like Anthony. Stephen. You all right?
I don't even know what to do with you sometimes. To spank you or encourage you because I'm entertained.
I mean, if you spank me tomorrow, it's going to be awkward for a lot of people. Like a lot of people. Maybe we stick with the hand slaps in front of company.
Oh.
People don't need to know how in order our house is.
A lot of chaos up there.
That's a story I keep in house.
Yep. Hot takes.
No, I thought about how
at no point tonight,
yeah.
I'm almost going to guarantee it, unless you will you say go Buffaloes?
No, I definitely won't.
Yeah.
Like and I said this yesterday, in the moment, I'm definitely like my heart will be rooting for NDSU. After the game is over, I will.
You're going to sit down and pontificate on whether
I think it's better or not for Nebraska.
Well, you
know
the
result of the game.
You know what I think you should base that on?
What's that?
Whether Nebraska wins by 3 or 30 on Saturday, because we keep talking about UTEP from a year ago, and it's
a totally different team.
It's the most irrelevant conversation I've ever.
Like how anybody from a year ago.
Like how anybody thinks you can like say, "Well, it's UTEP," is like again. I always tell you, people can make you dumber. Don't listen to those people.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Nebraska has not earned any givens.
How good this team is or isn't. And as a matter of fact, 27.5 seems like a lot.
It's high. It seems high.
Especially with only a total of 48.
Yeah. No, it seems high. It really does. I have no.
Doesn't that total seem low, though?
I mean, it depends on. You're basically looking at it and saying, hey, Nebraska's defense is really
I don't know
good.
if you know this, but they're playing a team that wants to snap the ball every 12 seconds.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. I read that a lot.
I mean, how many times have you heard them say, well, we watch a lot of Austin P film?
Yeah. Well,
4, 6, 8, 12.
4 of their dudes and potentially 5 with their quarterback were Austin Peay's leading.
I know.
Fill in the blank.
But that's what I mean. Like with your point to looking at UTEP from last year, does you no good?
Yeah.
Like Nebraska's not even looking at UTEP from last year hardly, except for individuals that are still on the team.
Correct.
But then they're taking individuals from UTEP and trying to put them into Austin Peay's scheme kind of mentally and philosophically to see what that might look like. It's a whole other deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no good way to scout this for Nebraska. You do the best you can, but it's kind of a crapshoot for them. And this is a totally different coaching staff and in large part a different roster than UTEP had last year. There's 27.5. I mean, I'm kind of at the point with Nebraska until I see it. And listen, I'm as optimistic about Nebraska as anybody. that I don't think you can favor him by 4 touchdowns over anyone.
Hey, so I should probably just look at scores.
Mhm.
When was the last blowout?
Nebraska beat somebody by, was it? I was thinking the 56-3 Northwestern one is the one that came
Probably
to my head.
right. Yeah,
I don't know that they've beat anybody with 4 touchdowns since then.
That was a tail kick, and that was the infamous post game from then head coach Patty Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
Was extremely surly.
Yeah, he had that in him. We gave him the benefit of the doubt a lot, but he had a lot of surliness.
I wonder what he's doing. Talk about a good coach just chilling.
He's suing right now. He's
him and Jerry Sloan just parlaying.
Like he's going. That's the process. I mean, so they beat Northern Illinois by 24 last year.
But that was kind of messy, though.
It was, but that's. I mean,
remember
that's
how many grumble bugs.
You sound like you got marbles in your mouth.
I don't even know if I could recreate that.
That is so. I mean, that's the closest one to the line so far. I'm just going back here. They beat North Dakota by 21. That was
a debacle.
That wasn't the prettiest.
What was that score at half? 7?
Yeah, it was 7. Yeah, something like that. It was close.
That was the infamous. It's bad. Do you remember that halftime interview?
Yeah.
I was
like, wasn't pretty.
I said, "Oh shoot, he's in trouble."
Yep. Yeah. And then
do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I was mortified.
What's that?
Because we do want coach's honesty.
Yeah.
But that I was like,
honesty is not always the best policy.
Huh. Shane, who sings that song?
Oh, I think I just lost you.
Something. Everyone.
I know what song you're talking about. Oh.
I got me. Do I got me?
Yeah, I think I lost you still.
It's fine.
Okay.
You can just hear me now.
We're still going out over the air, Shane.
Yeah, it's just between us.
All right. I don't know. I can't ever tell.
Who sings that song?
I'm not sure.
I got
Honestly,
Shane. That's
I don't
good.
know.
Oh, I see what you did there. Fordham 21 was the 52-7.
Okay.
I think that was the last one.
Who are they? The Rams? They're the Rams.
Fordham Rams, yeah. Out of New York,
yeah.
I believe. And then they did tail kick Northwestern that same year. So 21, they had a couple blowouts.
Long live 2021.
That's the isn't that the greatest 3-9 team that we ever had?
That was the story. It turned out to be pretty fictitious.
Well, we don't know. Best 3-9 team of all time, 2021 Nebraska. Hang the banner. Is that not what we're doing?
No.
I don't even recognize what we're doing.
Me neither.
Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk to Paul Limongi, head coach at Omaha Westside at 7:45. 8:45, we got Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider. And at 9, Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back.
Okay, I turned your mic on.
Oh, there we are. How's that, Ravi?
That's good. I'll turn it back off. Okay, it's back on.
What do you want to hear from me? Aw. Shane, what'd we do?
I'm going to turn it back off.
We will be back. will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
You know, I'm not a big super slogan guy, but we kind of came in this year and I told the guys, I said, listen, at least for me, I'm chasing those 3 points. You know, well, one of those games was overtime. So really it was like 5 by 12. You know, it's crazy. So I was like, hey, look, if we just get 3 points better, you know, there's no reason to panic. We're not going to do things different. We didn't go fire a bunch of coaches. We didn't change our offense, defense. Just get a little bit better. So I think as we enter training camp, I'll spend a lot of time on the end of the game. I mean, I want not everyone, we practiced it. They know how to handle it. I want them to get to the end of the game, Adam, and almost enjoy it, almost enjoy the pressure. You know, their heart rate doesn't raise up. They're fighting the physical signs of anxiety just because they've done it so much. And so we're gonna do that, and that's really my job.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. DB.
Is that me? Or
I can
you?
hear you.
Is that me or you? Whose button is this?
You're one.
Do you?
No, that's nobody. That's you.
Hey, I have a question.
Is that louder?
Do it again.
Louder. That's like all the way up. Are you deaf?
Hey, listen.
Are you all right?
I just want to know.
Listen, Linda.
Okay, but don't really answer the question if it's going to hurt my feelings.
Okay, well, I can't make any promises.
When I ask you stuff like that, are you like, come on, man, there's 4 buttons. We've done this for a while.
No, I don't care.
Okay, good.
I really don't.
See, you could have kids.
No, I couldn't. It's more than just the patience, which I have more for you than I do for other people.
Wow, the concession. This is my concession.
Well, no, the more I like
got a
people,
host on the way.
the more I like people, the more patience I have with them.
Oh,
The less I like people, the less I'm patient with them.
well, thanks.
I
gotta really be patient with this dude. At least I don't have bad takes.
Yeah. Amazing Daniel's got bad takes.
So what's he on this morning?
Well, so he's
besides
coming, he
PCP.
goes, it's just that Ravi is way too specific and particular with his rooting. He quotes, he's pretend quoting me. I want them to win.
His delivery.
At least 7, but no more than 8. We need to beat Colorado, but they need to win the first game. Man, just beat UTEP by any number of points.
Go AD.
Daniel, specifics matter. Details matter. Because I know, you and I both know.
Who, me?
Yes.
Don't drag me into this nonsense.
No, you and I both know.
He said, nope, I am.
Yeah, here we go. We are pot committed here, bud. We're in this together.
I only have I got pocket 8s. Is this a 3-bet raise? What are
better
we doing?
than 2-7 offsuit. The good news: Jacoby Brissett's the starter for Patriots. I know you were wondering.
Wow.
I
bet that team's morale is like sky high.
Specifics matter because we both know that if they have to kick a game-winning field goal to beat UTEP, it's going to be a much different vibe than if they cover the spread. Specifics matter. They do.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that.
But
I'm not sure that's what I hear.
The win total is actually a really good example for this Colorado take because in the moment, if Nebraska wins 10 games, I'm not going to be mad about it. But there is going to be a level of concern after that the fan expectation is now going to be out of control. It's the same thing. I'm going to root for Nebraska to win every single game this year. I'm not going to be like, ooh, let's drop this one. That seems better. Like, that's not what's happening. But at the end of the year.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to
I'm talking to everybody.
Dizzle.
I'm talking to everybody.
You talking to AD?
Yes, because you can have two different things be true at the same time. In the moment, I can root for Nebraska to win every single game, which means they'd be 12-0, 14-0, 15-0, national champions, whatever, right? But anything between like a 10-win season and a national championship where you actually, or like a college football playoff appearance where you actually get the payoff, the expectations are going to be out of control compared to an 8-win season. An 8-win season marks good progress and reasonable expectations for the next year.
I know this is going to sound like a 7-year-old, but I don't care.
I do.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, no, I'm not trying to convince
you. No, that's fine. And you don't have to care, but I do.
I'm just saying, like, if the fans want to be irrational or unreasonable, I guess I'm cool with that. Like, it doesn't really matter to me.
It matters to me only in the sense that I think the way the fans act about certain things can have a tangible impact.
Do you know what I hear? I'm going to let you off the proverbial hook because this is what I think you're saying. You care so much about this football team. You want them to always be operating on their best case scenario.
100%. Both in Colorado and in the win total. That's exactly what I mean.
So I just want what's best. That's what you want to say.
Yes. I want what's best for Nebraska. I don't know if that means 8 wins or 10 wins or 12
wins. Do you know what
wins.
movie you couldn't have been in?
What's that?
Inside Out 2.
Why?
Because you are anxiety.
Yeah, I know.
Anxiety went through every...
My prescriptions tell me that.
I assume it was a girl, although it was very ambiguous with the drawing. The space in between the teeth was throwing me off, but I'm pretty sure it was a she, would go through every scenario.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah,
it's not like I chose this life. It's just how I am.
This life chose me.
I mean, kind of.
I love it. You go from nervous Nelly to like closet hood. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me.
I'm built different.
Speaking of not very tough, do you realize we have to wear pants today?
Can
you ask Coach Limongi why we have to wear black pants?
I will. As soon as we talk to him in 8 minutes, I'm going to say, Coach, why you make DB wear pants all the time?
And ask him why he made the choice to wear black uniforms today.
Because talk about going hood. Gotta go.
No. You know what you should ask him?
What?
Why does he want our face masks looking like North Dallas 40? They're like red face masks with black helmets. I mean, we look like a 1970s team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I'm picturing we break the huddle and we're like 6'2" stack monster.
You going like old school longest yard?
Bro, you got to see him. It's incredible. And by the way, here's my other admission.
Yeah.
I am wearing a Progressive Fitness T-shirt.
Okay.
And as I look at it with this stupid lights that Sasha always wants beaming on us, right? I might be colorblind.
Yeah, those aren't the same red or the same color.
I'm going to blame it on getting dressed in the dark.
I
knew what color the T-shirt was, though.
That's a real thing, though. When you're getting dressed in the dark, sometimes you're like, trying to figure it out, try not to wake anybody else up.
Yeah, it looks kind of pink.
It's lighter. It's lighter than the Westside one for sure. I thought maybe it just faded a little bit.
I just wanted to get that out there since we were talking about wardrobe and attire.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask Coach Limongi
Hey, guess
why you got to wear pants all the time.
Yeah, because nobody asked Coach Rule why he's on the West Side. No. What's to keep you from being hot and having some? You can't get your sign stolen now.
West side of the sidelines, the stadium.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Well, I don't know. You work at West Side. It's confusing.
Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but if our guys don't go to Nebraska, then apparently they're not West Side guys.
Well, no, it's just because you were recruiting them to Iowa, so that was the problem.
That's a lie.
I think that was.
You crack this thing or you get cracked.
I think you had Coach Ferentz on like speed dial. You're like, okay, which ones you want, Kirk? I got you.
If I put anybody on speed dial over there not named LeVar Wood, it would be Coach Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now that I have a really good relationship with Coach White, I can ask him the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, and these twos when we're in goal, lad.
But you're not going to recruit for Coach White, just Coach Parker.
No. I see what you're trying to do. It's not. You're like Benjamin Morris. Are you trying to paint me? Is that the paint people?
Benjamin Moore.
Him too. Morris sounded a little more professional.
Or what was the other? Sherwin Williams?
Well, I know about asking Sherwin.
Yeah.
You're not about to just paint me into some corner.
I used to always.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I used to.
DuPont. It's another one. It's another paint company.
You just call me Kenny DuPont.
They.
Sounds like a Hooper's name, doesn't it?
Kenny DuPont. Where's he from?
Probably Virginia Beach.
A lot of good Hoopers in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
That DMV area. You got some talent there.
Him and KD.
AI?
Him and KD.
AI was there?
Mm-hmm.
Good football player, AI. Good high school football player.
Allegedly.
I mean, he was ahead of his time.
Are you going to be able to I know your fandom is at an all-time high for Coach Rule. Are you going to be able to adjust and recalibrate them being on that side of the stadium?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, you can look right out of the press box and almost touch them.
But hey, buddy, what are we doing?
If you do, I'm so glad I'm not in there with you. I may not come out of my closet once I get to the booth. Hey, anybody seen DB? No. Ravi's over there fanboying.
I mean, I've only been credentialed for the spring game so far.
Yeah.
But I was very professional. I just sat there, mind my own business. I had my sunglasses on because it was like real bright in my eyes, but because I was in the first row. But yeah, I was, I'll be professional.
I took some sunglasses, and full disclosure, they don't belong to me. So that'll just be one more thing to put in the doghouse. But they're cool. They're blue and they're big.
Jacking people natties. Yeah.
Left them lying around. Snooze and lose.
John, I literally specifically addressed that situation. Knock it off.
Literally specifically?
Yes. Literally and specifically.
What did John say?
He says 2024 Huskers win a natty. Ravi, I don't know. This isn't good. Fan expectation be too high. I literally addressed the natty specifically, John. And I'll address it again if you come to the breakfast tomorrow. 5 fingers to the face.
Well, actually.
Smack. We'll talk to Coach Paul Limongi coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and we've been talking a lot about the breakfast tomorrow.
I can't wait, and I'm glad you said it correctly.
What, breakfast?
Breakfast. I got a lot of breakfast guys.
Those like
stop.
Those like Anthony guys?
Yeah.
Or?
See.
I was just. Seems like a speech impediment. Seems like a speech impediment's the only way that you could get from breakfast.
I know what you wanted to see.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it was written all over your face.
Anthony. Presented by EP Foundation Repair. Make sure there's still time to go to eventbrite.com, search Hurrdat Sports Radio to reserve your seats for breakfast. Also, maybe some breakfast cocktails if you're trying to get that weekend started early. Make sure you come hang out.
I might with more of your hot takes. Too bad I got to work Saturday.
DB and me at our live breakfast presented by EP Foundation Repair. Shane, we got Coach?
Coach is here.
All right, joining us
Let's
now
go.
Is head football coach of the Westside Warriors, Paul Limongi. Coach, how are you this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Coach, you sick of me yet? How are things? We good?
Yeah.
Wait, you are?
You and me both, Coach.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, that's on you. I only do what I'm told. Hey, by the way, did you change your mind about the black pants yet, or is that still a thing?
Black Panther, it's on.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Awesome. We're doing it.
Awesome.
Coach, DB would like me to ask you why you make him wear pants.
Just have to do it. That's what we do.
Coach's
etiquette.
Coach's etiquette, I guess. Coach, how difficult? There's a lot of things that had to happen to pull this game off, to get there to do this thing by 4, man. You embrace the kind of the challenge, or you're like, not so much?
Well, it's part of the job. I mean, you just got to deal with so many different avenues during game week. I mean, weather is a big avenue that you're going to have to kind of navigate through, and we just wanted, game day to be something that was stress free. We didn't want to have to stop and restart and stop again. So we're just trying to find a location where we can get, the 48 minutes in without interruption, and just make it an easy transition and not have to, worry about one thing or another. Still not foolproof, but, after talking to some people that are so-called experts, that 4 o'clock was the way to go. And the potential of getting it in is much higher than keeping it at 7. So, you just got to be flexible with your schedule. Things like that come up all the time. And it's just part of the job.
Coach, why was it so important for you to make sure this game got played today as opposed to either trying to reschedule, or is it about kind of your team being ready, or more just the practicality of rescheduling is a nightmare?
It's a little bit of everything. Our whole fall camp was designed to play today. The way we schedule things, the way we practice, the way we set up everything. Our kids are ready to go. I'm sure North is the same. I mean, we just want to follow. We just want to follow schedule. I mean, we don't have school tomorrow because we have professional development. We want to try to avoid games. We don't have school, which just throws guys off their routine a little bit. So we really wanted to get it in today. It would be kind of a wasted day if we did not. There's nothing to recover from. We haven't played yet. And I really like playing that opener on a Thursday because the guys are usually ready to go. The coaches are ready. We just want to go. So it was unanimous that we're going to do whatever we can to get this game in. And I think the players are juiced and ready, and so are the coaches. And we just had to play today if we could.
It's a little different, right? 2024. I love the fact that these are the kind of teams that I think you're perfect for with your personality. We were spoiled. We had the leadership and an explosive athletic leadership of Anthony Rizak, but we get a different kind of quarterback this year who is uber talented in Braylon Warren. How are you feeling about that as you've gone through some first-time talented starting quarterbacks before?
Yeah, it's happened before. And I've been kind of reading Braylon's eyes the last week or so, and he really seems ready to go. Now, he's going to have some jitters. He's going to make some mistakes just like everybody will. But I think he's going to recover quickly from those mistakes. And, he needs nothing but being battle tested. And I think he's looking forward to that challenge. I think, everybody knows that he looks good in shorts and he can sling it and, he has the size. But, the true testament of him will be live action with the first flying. And he'll get a chance to do that in a few hours. And I think he's excited for it. And as long as he goes out and competes and stays within himself, and has fun doing it and distributes the ball, follows the game plan, he's going to have a lot of fun and he's going to do well. Game one is just a measuring stick of our toughness, and we'll correct the mental errors and fundamentals going into game two. But I'm real excited to see how tough our team is tonight.
He's young for his age too. Surprise isn't the word, but I am pleased with his demeanor. Like his emotional maturity is seems to be at a high level. Now we'll see what happens once. I mean, some guys are breathing down his neck, but all things indicate up to this point, he's a pretty cool customer.
Yeah, he's focused. He's laser-like focused at practice and at meetings. He knows the importance of just staying calm, cool and collective. And, I think he learned from one of the best, with Anthony and how Anthony prepared.
For sure.
And just kind of dealing with all the things that come with being a quarterback and being the general. And I think he's really bought into those things. And, he's one of those guys that seems like he dominates the controllables. He tries to do everything right that he could in terms of being on time and in terms of studying, in terms of leadership, in terms of learning and distributing where he needs to go with the football. So it's going to be fun to watch him tonight.
Coach, what are some of the challenges in both? I know DB's talked about from a leadership standpoint, but from a football standpoint of obviously you lose both the Rizaks, you lose some guy named Caleb Benning who was pretty good also. What are some of the challenges just from a football standpoint of breaking in some new guys that are going to have to step up into spots they haven't been before?
Yeah, you could prepare and practice all you want, but until, it's game time, you really don't know how guys are going to react. you try to get them in situations where they're challenged and where they're under stress. But when it comes to, game night, it's just different. And especially when you're going to deal with a little bit of heat, you're going to deal with a lot of emotion. You're going to be sweating a lot. I think just getting that first game, that battle-tested, hardcore game against a physical team, is going to be interesting for us. And I think we're ready for it, but you never could be until you do it and until you see it, until you gain confidence and get that first quarter under your belt. That's going to be a challenge for us. But I think we've done everything that we can do to get the guys ready. I think the experienced guys will be fine, but they got to come to play. And then the guys who are making their first start, hopefully they did what they were coached to do in terms of visualization and self-talk, and they just go out and play and understand that, there's going to be some adversity that hits, and you just got to, wipe yourself off and hit the next play. So, just handling the physicalness of the game and the heat and dealing with, the stressors that come with that opener is going to be, a first-time thing for some guys. But, I have good confidence that we're going to respond and play hard.
Coach, we haven't even talked about this. I'm surprised. But a pro or a con, or how do you look at playing a team in an opener like North that is so, such history? They play a certain way. You kind of know what you're going to get. It's not a lot of trickeration and cutesy stuff. Like, they're going to play this thing in a phone booth and see who's tough. Is that, you like that in an opener from a game planning standpoint?
I like that in every game. That's kind of what it's about. I've had some great battles with North when I was at Burke, and we played them every year for 16 years, and they were always great games, and you kind of just, it's a battle of fortitude. You just go and you kind of see who's tougher, and they kind of have, I'm sure, a pretty good feel of what we're going to do. We kind of think we know a little bit about what they're going to do, but there's some new elements there. When you play that first game, you're not quite sure because there's no film, and you just got to take what they've done in the past, and I think that'll help. But there's going to be more to it, and we got to be able to adjust on the fly and do our jobs and just be fundamentally sound and just attack what we see and know that we're going to have some mess ups, but just deal with it. And if everybody's kind of doing what they're coached, we'll recover, make them snapping again, and run another play on offense. So I'm excited about playing North, and because we haven't played them here at Westside, and it's going to be a fun game. It probably might be a quick game, let's let the fur fly and let's see what happens, man.
That's Coach Paul Limongi, head football coach at Omaha Westside. Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck tonight, and good luck dealing with DB all the time.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. See you later. A few hours, man.
All right, buddy.
That's Paul Limongi, head football coach at Omaha Westside. Coming up next.
Thanks for getting me out of the whole pants thing.
Well, I did my best.
You were so scared of it.
He seemed pretty dead set on it.
Yeah.
Coaching etiquette. How am I going to argue with that?
Can't.
See? Can't argue with etiquette. That's DB. I'm Ravi. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Well, I think it's teaching the game. I mean, I think a lot of people teach systems, and then those quarterbacks get to the NFL and they're not prepared because they haven't learned the game. I remember listening to Tom Brady at one point talk about the impact Bill Belichick had on him early in his career of teaching the game. Mm-hmm. And so, we practice it, we model it in practice. But as the head coach, I'm not the play caller. I don't coach the quarterbacks, but I try to spend time with my quarterbacks, making sure they understand the way I see the game, what I'm looking for on 3rd and 9. And if they can master it and see it the same way, then we can be really aggressive. Yeah. And so that's why I think quarterbacks who stay somewhere for several years, even as you look last year, some of those guys might have they transferred early, and they were able to be in the system. Penix was at Washington for a couple of years because you start to think and play the way the coordinator and the head coach see the game.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. If you're driving into work, make sure you're wearing your seatbelt and make sure it clicks. Wearing your seatbelt saves lives and prevents injuries, but only if worn properly. Make it click. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You and
what's up, DB?
Dylan Rayola. Buckle up, baby.
That's all right. It's gonna be a fun ride.
The dang in that vehicle is it gets me to put my seatbelt
on the alarm
immediately.
It's
different.
Mine's pretty aggressive.
So's mine.
It's because every once in a while I'll start like backing out of the driveway before the wife's buckled the seatbelt. I'm like, babe, as soon as you get in the car.
Yeah, that thing
It's
is
not even for her safety. It's just I can't listen to the thing.
Yeah.
Also for her safety, but
Yeah, and it's obviously it's a loner.
Mhm.
But whoever, I would love to see the stature of the person who
was in there before you.
Yeah, it was very vertical.
Yeah.
And extremely. Now, I'm not talking about you need like the gangster lean, but it was like I felt like my sternum, like I would be outro if the airbag ever went off.
So you don't think Penny was driving the car before you?
No.
No, I mean,
And it has like the dials.
What about Anthony?
I think
Yeah, for sure.
On the seats?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's not like the automatic or not like the electric.
So it took quite a bit of time. You should have seen how long it took me to figure out the door handle.
Really?
It's curved and it's on the arm.
Mhm.
So it has a little pull mechanism, but you can't see it because it doesn't stick out. You have to like feel for it. Yeah.
You look like you're riding a motorcycle, just like.
Yeah, I'm about good on you this morning. Can't wait for tomorrow. Like I told RP, I hope there's bacon involved. If there's bacon involved,
you'll be all right.
If we take an L tonight, there's a chance I'll be in a halfway
better mood if there's bacon.
No, it won't. It'll be better. It won't be a good.
No,
mood.
I said better on purpose.
Yeah, it'll be better.
I just root for Westside just so you're in a okay mood. That's all. Especially 'cause you got a lot of Thursday games last year or this year.
We did 4.
Last year we could have gotten away with it because of Friday games, but this year it's like, gotta need you to win some of those, bud. At least on Thursdays. Can lose all you want on Fridays.
Wow. Hot take Thursday continues. Yeah, I do look forward to it actually being north because at least we don't have to dink around.
Yeah.
Right? Like they play in your kitchen. So
well, that's what Coach said, right? He said, "Hey, like we'll figure out who's tougher today, and then we'll make adjustments about football next week."
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah, that is a hot take. My man who says, if you can't figure out how to get lined up, solve problems with aggression. Well, I actually would prefer we get lined up correctly.
I mean, you could do both. Both would be nice.
Fudge. It's like
I like that. Solve problems with aggression.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I'm still mad this shirt is not the right color red.
Well, I mean,
nobody asked you. I was just thinking out loud, Mr. Considering outcomes all the gosh darn time.
I can't help it.
What did you say? You like in your former life you did what? The Along Came Polly guy.
Well,
risk management.
Yeah,
or
so I was
something?
fraud and risk management for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
So
it's ingrained.
Well, actually, I think I ended up in that career path because it was ingrained before that. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of a natural fit. Be like, oh, this guy overthinks everything and thinks about worst case scenarios all the time. Let's hire him. Basically what happened. But
that's ridiculous.
I think people with anxiety, like I think risk management is if you can like channel it in the right directions, is a natural field for people with anxiety.
Yeah. What are you looking for tonight to drive your, like, what if Colorado just dusts North Dakota State off? Where you can be like, oh,
yeah.
dang.
No, I mean, I think that's better than if they have. I mean, if you're telling me they go out, they play great football, they dust them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's better for Nebraska next week than than if they win, but there's some clear things they have to fix.
Yeah.
Like if the idea of it being better for Nebraska if Colorado wins is they go in overconfident and thinking that their stuff don't stink.
I think you should just go home and watch like Fordham and Bowling Green.
Why?
Just
cause
keep the stress level down.
I mean, I'm not gonna be stressed about Colorado tonight.
No,
it's just I'm gonna
UCF in New Hampshire, Shane.
I'm gonna feel differently about how I think next week. I might feel differently about how I think next week's gonna go based on how tonight goes for Colorado.
I want you to come tomorrow and have a breakdown of Lafayette and Buffalo.
I'm probably not gonna do that.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Colorado NDSU.
Locked.
I mean, that's just what it is.
I'm locked
and loaded.
No.
I'm probably gonna watch some U.S. Open on my other TV. I love tennis.
Yeah, that's true. You do.
And then that's probably what the TV's on tonight.
So, did you?
I was watching some Coco Gauff yesterday.
So, did you read the comments? And she came up in the article from Carolyn.
The
Frenchie.
Yeah, about the
comments made in social media.
Yep.
So can I this is, and if you're going to give me a hot take, then I'm actually going to leave.
I can't tell.
I know sometimes there are times like we feel sensitive.
Yeah.
But we've had to learn to toughen up
mm-hmm.
over the years of getting criticisms about what we say and do in this field,
mm-hmm.
especially with the immediacy of social media. Do you feel for professional athletes, or are you like, just don't be on social media?
No, I feel for him because I don't think it's practical to ask them not to be on social media.
I was surprised she went the gambling thing, but I think that's a real thing, because if you didn't read the article, which I'm sure 98% of our listening audience didn't, she received, and this is on the heels of Harper Murray.
Garcia, right? It was
Carolyn Garcia. Yeah,
Garcia.
Nice French name, right?
Listen, people are from all over. They can live wherever they want.
No, you ever look at the Olympic basketball teams? You're like, wait, how is John Smith playing for Poland?
Joel Embiid, American.
Boo. That's boo Joel. No, but and she was like, she said it at the end. She said she thinks a lot of it is because tennis is partnered with gambling outfits, that she thinks people are mad about the outcome. And in my head, I'm sure people wager on tennis, but like, is it huge?
Yeah. In Europe, betting on tennis is enormous.
Okay.
It's a huge market.
Well, you just had that in the old roll.
I used to bet on tennis a lot.
Wow.
So I'm aware. Like there's a lot of action on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a big, well, especially, so I kind of feel the same way about tennis gambling as I do some of the other ones, is if you can focus on some of the less marquee matchups and go either down the line in a major or bet on non-majors. So if you're betting like Cincinnati last week instead of the U.S. Open, you have a better chance of making money, because it's not going to be, the lines aren't going to be as accurate as they are on something like a U.S. Open or Wimbledon, where there's a ton of focus and attention on it.
I feel like that shooting star, that the more you know. My mind is just expanding. This dude literally just talked about the minor tournament before the Open, the Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Seamlessly.
That's the stuff you have to bet. It's like, I used to bet the Missouri Valley all the time in basketball because the lines were never right.
Yeah.
And so if you bet regular season Missouri Valley basketball, your chances of making money are way better than if you're betting like conference tournaments or March Madness. That's why I don't bet. That's why I've never really bet the NFL. NFL lines are right because there's so much money on the line for the casinos. They're going to get those right. You want to make money? Go bet like West Coast Conference football in the regular season.
Cricket.
And there's going to be like 3 people betting on those games. So you've got chances to actually make up some market inefficiencies.
Yeah. So
I do think part of it is the gambling, but people have always been like this. It's just now we see it on social media. You know what I mean? Because you get it in stuff that people don't really even gamble on that much. So I don't think it's just the gambling.
But we've talked about like Coco Gauff before, and kind of the coming off as being hypersensitive.
Yeah, she unravels.
So, when you read stuff like that from professionals, and I guess now, because I did say this a handful of years ago with NIL, that I felt like, I wonder if media
will treat college
players differently. Apparently fans will too.
100%.
Right? So, but that was kind of the given. I wondered about media.
Although, I mean, let's not act like we didn't get kickers with death threats before they were getting paid in college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not pretend this is new. It's newer with social media because that message can actually get out there. But you get this all the time. Like, people feel emboldened by not having to say something to somebody's face, right? So you'll say crazy stuff online that you would never say even on a phone call, much less to somebody's face. So I think it's a more social media issue than it is a gambling issue or a compensation issue.
Do you feel a little more strongly about it since watching Harper Murray? Because that was awful close to home.
Yeah.
I have one in particular right on the football team in Lincoln, and I'm not going to put him out there, but a very similar effect on like our very own.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because Coach Rule has said this almost since he's been here. And maybe part of it is because of his time in Carolina. He's like, listen, I've been a meme. I've been this.
Yeah.
And, you used to just worry about people making fun of you in films. But now, by the second quarter.
Somebody's got something out on Twitter.
So how many times has he said that roughly? I bet he's alluded to it 5 or 6 times.
I would say half a dozen. Yeah.
Right. So clearly, I think he thinks that's a potential
thing.
issue or it's a thing. Do you look at athletes differently that have to deal with that?
I do I do because
it took some seasoning for me, and I can have a tendency to be uber aggressive if I want it to be, right?
Yeah, and
so I could just imagine that, like being easily moved at that age.
And I've never. I mean, I can just speak from my own experience here in terms of being on the like commentating online during games thing. I've never tweeted at someone. I've never made threats of someone. I've never been like, oh, you should kill yourself or anything like that. But I've still said, like, after watching, after seeing some of these things play out or like watching the Harper Murray documentary, it does always kind of make me think, be like, is there still stuff I'm saying that's out of pocket that I shouldn't? Because like I remember last year, you're frustrated, you kind of make jokes or whatever. Like I probably tweeted a couple things about Heinrich Harburg last year that like didn't need to be said. They weren't threatening, they weren't menacing, but if I'm in his shoes and I look at it and I go, yeah, that's kind of a crappy thing to say. And maybe mine isn't directed at him as a person or whatever. It's just about football. And I generally feel like if I keep it about football, it's fair, even if it's criticism. But it also does make me think, okay, if I'm here and that's in a vacuum, it's probably okay. But these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? My comment here about, I think off the top of my head, I made a joke about Heinrich Harburg throwing basically 2 interceptions on one drive because one got called back by a penalty and then he threw one on the next play. I go, it's pretty hard to throw 2 interceptions on one drive, but Heinrich Harburg figured out a way. Like, I was making a joke. It was a snarky comment. And in a vacuum, it's like, okay, that's about football, whatever. But if you put that in the context of like, okay, somebody else is probably telling him that he should kill himself, and somebody else is telling him that, or like adding him.
Yeah, which comment is the one that puts him over the
right? And it could be mine, even though in a vacuum, mine is not in the same category as that. But do I want to be part of that conversation at all? Right? And that's hard for me because the joke Tourette's. Like if I see a joke or think something's funny, I have a really hard time not saying it. But when I do see things like the Harper Murray thing, it's like, okay, if she's already in a headspace or they're already in a headspace where my comment, which is maybe just a little over the line and not all the way over here, is the thing that breaks the camel's back, do I want to be in that conversation at all? Mm-hmm. And is it that's the thing I think about.
It's not.
It's accumulation of things.
Because
it's never one thing.
Because at one point you're thinking to yourself, well, I didn't tell somebody to go kill themselves. I hope their mom dies or whatever.
I didn't bring up their dad that died when they were a kid or whatever. Like I didn't, but still, are you in the right? Just because you're not the most wrong, does that put you in the right?
Because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this is a real thing. And these are pros.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I have a lot
she's been as high as what, top 4 or 5 in the world.
Yeah, she's good. Like I know that most people don't know who she is because she's not one of the top 2 or 3, but she's good. Like it's a good tennis player that is dealing with this, and I do feel for, like, I know some people should, they got to toughen up. It's part of the job. That's what the money's for. I get it. Right? I get all the arguments against it. Mm-hmm. Right. But what do you as a person or as a society, what do we gain out of treating people that way? Nothing. Right. There is no positive to that.
And coincidentally, I'll see a guy tonight across the sidelines that I got a ton of respect for, who was notorious on his social media account for going back and forth at fans. Mm-hmm. When he left Washington, when he left Jacksonville, I'm talking about now is Paul.
Yeah.
Right. Now, remember, you'd like look at his social media accounts. It's like, wow,
what are you doing?
This dude,
we do this with Kevin Durant.
But he'll tell you, like he'll be really honest with you about the emotional impacts when that's your livelihood. And that's somebody I consider pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he talked about his mental health when he retired too, how he really struggled with things.
Yep.
Right. Like there's a lot. And also, I also think it's really hard
because I only say that to say it's not just
people we think is mentally weak.
Women's sports.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. That's why I brought up Heinrich as well. Like that's a guy everybody would think is tough.
Yeah.
That's a guy that obviously it's football. It's not tennis or whatever. Like it's a tough guy, like a man's sport, whatever. And a guy that I think we think is particularly tough within that context. Even
you know who speaks to that quite a bit.
Who?
And we don't value it because we're like, oh man, I'm gonna consider the source. Like this guy allegedly stood over a babysitter one day and whatever. But Antonio Brown talks about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I read it again. I'm like, I wonder, because the partnering with entities that sponsor you, Like that's a lot of it, right?
Which
the partnerships, because it generates a ton of revenue in major sports.
I would say, and the major sports leagues in America are doing that now also. This is no longer isolated to Europe and European sports.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting read because she's one of the first that came out against.
Well, she just provided like screenshots too,
partnering
with the
entities.
Yeah,
right. I just can't imagine saying to.
Which that one's out of the barn. That's not coming back. Like that's
like
gone.
the NFL saying, "Hey, you know what?
We're not partnering with FanDuel."
Man, FanDuel, like I can't believe the impact. Like they just would never.
Nope.
You wouldn't see a quarter. Like somebody wouldn't say that.
Nope. Never. But I do think tennis is unique as well because it's already a really emotionally and mentally challenging sport. Like it starts there. And then when you add on these other things, and not that these other sports aren't, but
we've seen the Capriottis, we've seen the Agassiz.
I mean, Nick Kyrgios is a great example. Yeah. Nick Kyrgios might be the most talented tennis player I've ever seen in my life. Like he is otherworldly talented, and there is and he's admitted this, like the mental health part of it and the grind of it. Like he's never going to reach his physical potential. Mm-hmm. And he kind of had to decide at some point that he's okay with that because it's not good for his mental health.
I think the part that I wrestle with, and this is just being as authentic as I can. Mm-hmm. I sometimes feel like people think, oh, this soft, this, that, and the other, or this is all we talk about, or what. And in my head, just because of my age, mm-hmm. right? This has been a thing for a long time.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You
think John McEnroe's mental health was good?
We just coped with it differently.
Yeah. And so did they.
You could go binge. You could, I mean, maybe you were aggressive in relationships. Like the outward display mm-hmm. of the stress was just different.
Yes.
Right? Because NFL players in the 70s could go to the bar. They'd go to a bar after a game and they just drink.
They tie one on and forget about it and whatever.
Or whatever.
Just like people do at a job they don't like that they're stressed out about.
And so, but now that people talk about it, I think we get kind of this little side eye roll. And I'm like, you guys don't understand.
It's been like this
This
forever.
has been a thing.
Yeah. I mean, like talking about tennis specifically, like John McEnroe was tortured. Like can you imagine him in a social media era where people would comment about his breakdowns?
I do know a guy that I cheer for. Mm-hmm. Openly talked about it. The pressure's coming from IMG and what he had to deal with, the images, everything is Andre Agassi.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the number one reason why I like it.
Yeah.
Right. Because then he had the run post the fall.
Yeah. Like in the early 2000s where he came back.
I'm Team Dre.
Won a couple majors.
Team Dre all the way.
And that's, terrific autobiography, by the way, if you haven't read it, like really, really good, and gets into this kind of stuff a lot. But it's a real thing. And like just because they're professionals, that doesn't change for me how I feel about it in terms of as a society, as fans, as whatever. Like you can be critical. I get that. But it's totally fair to think of people that are being compensated differently than people that aren't being compensated, right? Like that's their job, it's their profession.
Yeah, I mean, we always get into these arguments. It happens a couple times a year, right? Oh, they're booing or this and that at home, and then fans will go back and forth with each other, and then it's I have a ticket, I have a right to do this and that, and I'm just like, man, at some point this is going to have,
there's going to be bad consequences at some point
because we're so volatile.
Yeah. We're emotional and we're volatile, and now we have an outlet.
It's like the last 7, 8. We're just pretty mean-spirited,
and now we have an outlet where the athletes can see it pretty easily. With social media, like there is part of it. There is part of the responsibility on the athletes and how they handle things, and I understand that. But there's a big responsibility on us on just being better in how we consume sports and how we treat other people. Like, just because they're professional athletes, they're still people. Like being paid, like the paycheck, and I'm guilty of this sometimes too. I do think there are parts of the job you have to do that you don't like because of the paycheck.
Yeah, we've had the.
But the paycheck doesn't make you immune to the emotional reactions,
100%,
and emotional responses of how people treat you. Like you're still a human being at the end of the day, and I think that's kind of the bigger point is, whether it's Harper Murray, which hits super close to home, whether it's Niles Paul, whether it's Garcia, whether it's Nick Kyrgios, whoever it is, like there is obligation as a fan to just be better.
Check out my man TJ. He said, and he's right too, and of course he would know because this is his baby too in high school. But he said seeps down to high school as well. Kids see it with pros and college. They copy it and send crazy stuff to high school athletes all the time, which is weird.
Yeah,
but he's right.
Yeah,
like I mean, and I didn't really pay attention until like it's like that close in your household. But I'm like, yeah, he's 100% right. Like it happens in high school too. Like
which is horrifying on a different level because they're children, like they're actual children.
Yeah.
And they're not being compensated. Most of these people won't play anything in college. Like they're just out. A lot of these kids are literally just like either, hey, I wanted to do an activity with my friends, or like we forget outside of even at the high levels of like most of the kids on your team last year are just kids. Like, yeah, there's the Caleb Bennings and the Anthony Rizaks and the Teddy Rizaks and whatever, right? The guys that are going to go play high major football. But most of those are just kids, right? It's an after school activity for them. It's like you wouldn't get after the debate club like this. Like this is for most of these kids, it's just a school activity.
That's an interesting analogy.
And like you wouldn't do that. You're not like you don't go to the halftime show and be like, oh, the band was trash. What are you doing? Right? Like that's not a thing that happens.
Matter of fact, we may hear a bad national anthem and nobody wants to say anything because they feel bad.
Because they're like, oh, they're out there by themselves, whatever, and it's like, oh, they're doing their best. Like, so's the left guard that weighs 190 pounds. He's doing his best too. He's going up against the guy that's going to play at Notre Dame next year. What do you want? Like,
are you preparing me for Tyson Terry tonight?
No, that's definitely a totally different thing. I said Notre Dame, not Nebraska. Coming up next, we got more Hurrdat Sports Radio here, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. I think it's, there's not an end product per se, but just the continual process of getting better each day. And, we have ups and downs just like everybody, but, I think they're learning opportunities, and I appreciate their humble approach to it, to be coached, to be critiqued, and try to improve on that. And then, as we talk about in the meeting room, try to apply it onto the field.
We're halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. And it is your last weekend to get out to Lawrence and Gardens for their garden games. It ends on Labor Day, and they've got a bunch of outdoor games. Try and enjoy. It's supposed to be nice this weekend. Try and enjoy your last few days of summer before we head into fall. Go to lawrenceandgardens.org to get your tickets. You can play badminton. You can play giant chess. Maybe you're more of a checkers guy. Like to keep it simple, whatever it is.
Maybe you and Ryan could go play badminton.
Like DB. Well, we're more tennis guys, I think, judging by the Twitter conversation. But either way, make sure you get out to
it's cute.
lawrenceandgardens.org to grab your tickets. We got a lot in common. We're both Red Sox fans too. I found that out Saturday.
Over cookies? You guys were bonding over sugar cookies?
No, I had a chocolate chip. It wasn't I would have preferred a sugar. I like a sugar cookie over a chocolate chip.
Cute. Just needed to wash down the burgers and dogs.
I only had hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like burgers. In that context, I usually will not go burger. Like in the context of like a cookout or a barbecue or something like that.
Really?
I think they're easy.
Do tell.
I think they're easier to screw up. So
Okay.
I just don't.
Ravi here for looking gift horses in the mouth.
No, I just, I'm not going to complain about it. They're
You're just playing it safe
for other people. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I am very specific about how I like my burgers. Go figure. I'm specific about something.
Anxiety.
And so, that's just taste. But hot dogs are pretty hard to screw up. If you don't just burn the living daylights out of them, you're fine. As long as they're, somewhere between cooked and charred, you're fine. Whereas burger is like, I kind of like it a very specific cook temp and that kind of thing. So whereas in, like a mass food situation where you're just cooking a bunch at the same time, like you're just trying to make sure they're safe for everybody to eat. So, a lot of times they get a little overdone and you just, I'm going to go with the hot dog in that situation instead.
Was cheese an option?
Yeah, there's cheese there.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah, there's cheese. There's somebody brought like a nacho, like a queso with some meat in there. So I ate some of that. I like
that's safe.
Yeah, and that's usually pretty good. They got like the ground beef and the queso. That's one of my go-tos. I like nachos a lot, so that's a go-to there.
Hot take.
That's not a hot take. Nachos are great.
Yeah, they're okay. I'm not
going to get them at like a restaurant.
I never eat nachos. The only time I've started to eat nachos now is because of just the way that I eat. So sometimes I'll put meat on like pork rinds.
Yeah, your
but I wouldn't
chip
call
alternatives.
Those, yeah, I wouldn't call that like nachos.
I'm not gonna get them at a restaurant. Like if I go to a Mexican restaurant, I'm not ordering nachos. But I do enjoy kind of a nacho bar setup. So I'm in for that.
Simple.
Next time I have a party or something, might do a nacho bar.
Hey, did you see? There's zero segue except for
that's all right.
Did it sound like Zach Taylor was apologizing for prematurely speaking about Jamar Chase?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It did seem like he was apologizing.
Wow, you can't go back and get that.
No, you certainly cannot.
Well, or but maybe Jamar does play in week 1.
You hope so. He may have been one of those. I mean,
if you're Jamar Chase, do you even remotely say, well, I don't, just pay me somewhere between 31 and 34?
Maybe.
Yeah,
if you're Jamar, maybe, but if you're his agent, probably not.
Yeah, I think
like that's the difference.
I think Jamar looks at his ace, Justin, and is like, I am him.
Yeah, I think you could. I think Jamar Chase probably views himself in
I
the
wonder
exact
what
same
made
vein
sense he said that.
I don't know. Like
Jamar, on track to play in week 1. Really?
That feels like maybe some information was filtered down to him.
Well, so the talking heads yesterday and the day before were like, well, apparently somebody in that organization has said, hey, don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll get you
We'll get
money.
it done. Yeah. That's what I assumed, was that it was somebody on the Cincinnati side of negotiations was like, we're going to get this done. He'll play week 1. Don't worry about it. Because Zach Taylor's probably like, hey, give me freaking Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, please.
Because they open on the 8th, right? Isn't NFL the 8th? I'm not
yes,
even going to remotely.
It's next week. It's next week. So that's the 8th. Yeah, the 1st is Sunday, so the 8th.
Well, they have the Thursday game.
Right, but they don't play Thursday.
So he misses. He's not at practice. I'm just wondering how. I think obviously Jamar Chase is different than like Trent Williams.
How fast you could be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I am wondering about that with Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk and.
Well, you know the number one reason anything that happens with Cincinnati interests me. Well, I'm a Steelers fan.
Well, yeah.
And
big Zach Taylor guy.
And I think Cincinnati was one of my regression candidates, even though they only won 9 last year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be what people think they are this. Like, I don't think they'll challenge for the division.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time because whenever we've seen a healthy Joe Burrow, they've been really good.
I know.
And so that's the $1 million.
Believe me,
that's the $1 million question, right? I don't really care what's happening with anything else with Cincinnati. If Joe Burrow is healthy, I expect them to be challenging for the division.
Were you tagged on any of the Russell Wilson tweets that I got yesterday?
I was tagged on one of them, yeah.
So I'm out at practice, and I come back in my locker, and I was like, golly, man, like,
people blowing up your phone?
Who doesn't know I'm out at practice? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of Russell Wilson jokes. That's cute, you guys. It's cute.
How you feel? Feel good?
Yeah, the only pro to that is it's just not as low a floor.
Yeah. Which is, I'm sure, why he got the job. Like, if you're Mike Tomlin, that's kind of what the Steelers do, is like, hey, let's raise the floor and then get ourselves in position and then see what happens. Like, that's kind of without, like, post Ben and even late stage Ben, that's kind of what they do, right? Raise the floor as high as possible and then see what happens. And that's what Russell Wilson gives you. Justin Fields' ceiling is definitely higher. His floor is in the basement.
I go back to that Aaron Rodgers conversation. I think I told you this out loud, but
maybe.
You know Ben Roethlisberger's win percentage is better than Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
It's for the record.
He won a lot. He won a lot of games.
I think he's like a 67, 68% guy.
He won a lot of games.
I mean, and that'll happen when you don't go 500, when you never below 500. Yeah. But
there was no off years for him.
Yeah,
he's kind of the Ohio State of quarterbacks. Like, they just didn't have a lot. They never really had a lot of down years.
Were you surprised that Nate Davis yesterday thought of the Texans as a regression candidate?
No, I mean, I could see it. I don't know that I believe it will happen.
They're loaded.
Yeah, but I do understand what he meant for a couple things. I mean, you don't know what sophomore year or second year CJ Stroud looks like. That's always a thing. And we have seen a lot of issues with teams that load up on free agents.
Gosh, I just trust D'Amico Ryans, though. I like the way he
I like
runs.
D'Amico a lot.
Me too.
That's my guy. Like, that's my dude. 49ers, that's my guy. But I understand why he said it. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but I get how he got there mentally.
I'm floored the Patriots are going with Brissett.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to win it all this year. So,
I guess you bring him along slow.
But why?
I don't know.
Unless he's really not ready. Like, that's what would be concerning to me if I was a Patriots fan.
He doesn't look like he's not ready.
I don't think so either. Like, he doesn't look like one of those guys where you think if we throw him out there, we might ruin him, right? And if you're the Patriots, you're not in a position like the Steelers where you can say, hey, if we raise our floor to X, we can still make the playoffs. Patriots aren't making the playoffs. Patriots are bad. That's a bad football team. It's a bad roster. This is a full rebuild for the Patriots. I don't know if they know that, but everybody else does. And Jacoby Brissett gives you nothing in that scenario. That there's no reason to play the higher floor guy in that scenario. The only reason you would do that is if you think you're going to ruin your investment in Drake May by playing him with either a like David Carr-esque offensive line or whatever, right? That's the only reason you would not do the Drake May thing.
It's funny how it's not funny for him, but he's become the poster child for
bad situations,
ruining quarterbacks.
Yeah, because I'm not convinced he couldn't have been good somewhere else or like in a different scenario.
I like him as an analyst.
Yeah. A bunch of his kids have diabetes, so I root for him, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I think a couple of them are type 1s.
Oh,
so he's kind of an advocate for the, you know.
All right, so I should be Team DC?
Same with Ray Allen. Ray Allen's got a kid with type 1.
He is so hard to like, though.
Listen, I'm just here for the advocacy. He can, whatever else is whatever else. You know?
Ray Allen's awesome.
Ray Allen he chews gum like he's angry.
He does. He always looks mad.
Man.
He's got a resting PO'd face, you know?
Yeah.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Brian Edwards, see if we can make a little money this weekend here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. Now, Vegas insider, senior handicapper, and fan of the cold Budweiser bottles, Brian Edwards.
It's got to be touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Brian Edwards.
I don't really love it.
Brian Edwards.
The way they're using the cream cheese to butter the bagel.
Brian Edwards.
I'm going with the cowgirl.
Here is Brian Edwards.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We are joined now by Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider from MajorWager.com. What's up, B?
Good morning, gentlemen. What's happening?
Hey, how we doing today? We hanging. You ready to go for this weekend, man? It's like it's your first full slate, but it's. I mean, the lines have been out for so long, man. You still feeling sharp?
Well, I just was filling out I'm in a contest where we have to pick 25 ATS games every week, and
goodness,
I realized there were quite a few that I haven't given much of a look
yet. You're like, wait a minute, Fordham and Bowling Green. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, I mean, some of these I have. Yeah, so no, I feel less sharp after going through those 25 games right now. I filled it out, but there's like 8 of them. I've got to definitely go look at some injury information and some G5, research.
Oh boy, that is awesome.
We love it.
He's like, man, North Carolina High Point. What?
He's got to figure out if Lindenwood can cover the 45 against Kansas.
Now that's sick. How you just know that right off field? Listen, don't let Robbie fool you. If you need, hey, he's telling me about the Cincinnati Open in tennis last week, man. I mean, you want any insights on to be a degenerate, man? Hit my man Ravi up.
All right, true story, because you mentioned Lindenwood in Kansas. My nephew is in study hall right now, and he's been texting with me, and he's been going, do you like Lindenwood in Kansas over 59? I'm not going to tell his parents. I'm not going to tell his parents, though. But hey, I thought about it. I'm like, well, Jalen Daniels is healthy.
Yeah, and listen,
might be the only game all year.
They can run the rock too. I mean, pencil them in for 2 bills easy, and that one in their
Devin Neal.
Oh
yeah, Kansas offense should be great if Daniels stays healthy all year.
I don't know. 59 seems high. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
I might want to look at the KU team total, but they might not have team totals in FCS games. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Let's go to a little bit higher profile matchup this weekend. Clemson and Georgia. Georgia 13.5 point favorites. How are you feeling about the Dogs?
Well, I will say that I expect Trevor Etienne and Smile Munden, their leading returning tackler, I'm expecting them to be out with suspensions, although Kirby has not confirmed that. And Roderick Robinson, another running back, probably RB2, is probably out with turf toe, but I still love Georgia. and I know we've talked about it a few times this summer. Okay, so they're 46-2 straight up since Florida beat them in 2020, which is irrelevant because it's a double-digit spread. But 36 of those 46 wins have been by at least 14 points. I think we have the home crowd advantage in Atlanta. I think we have the head coaching advantage. I think we have the quarterback advantage, Carson Beck to Cade Klubnik. And I think Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns, maybe 4. It's not going to be as ruthless as that beat down Oregon and Dan Lanning and Bo Nix took in the opener 2 years ago at the same venue. But I think it'll be a good whipping, and I think the national narrative from week 1 to week 2 will be what a knucklehead Dabo is for not using the portal. There's 4 FBS teams with 0 transfers. Clemson, Air Force, Army, and Navy, and military schools can't take transfers. Can't take transfers.
You know, this is weird territory for Sweeney, because for a guy that was used to playing in national championship games a lot, his fall from grace could be meteoric.
Yeah.
You know,
they weren't very good last year.
He's close to almost being an afterthought. And it happened quick.
And it's his own doing.
I mean, I think I heard 3 years ago in this game, Clemson was favored over Georgia. And now we're talking about them being 2 touchdown dogs and that number probably not being big enough.
Yep.
This one's interesting. So I like, you got LSU, USC. We'll get to them in a second. But Notre Dame, A&M, it seems like A&M would be hard to kind of cap. But, man, they seem like they're dangerous. We know about Notre Dame defensively. We're still not sure on Riley Leonard. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, so and the big thing for me is Notre Dame's offensive tackle got a season-ending injury. I've heard multiple Notre Dame insiders on various podcasts say he was probably their 3rd to 4th player on the whole roster they could not afford to lose to a season-ending injury. Phil Steele's national unit rankings have A&M's D-line number 6. Notre Dame was already kind of in rebuild mode on the O-line, losing Joe Alt, first-team All-American, first-round draft pick. And when you say A&M dangerous, 0-4 in one-possession games last year, net yardage for the season plus 1180.
Wow.
The toxicity of the Jimbo hot seat combo and just really the bad chemistry in that locker room for not just last year. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 years. And Elko, I think it's a breath of fresh air. He did a great job at Duke. He knows the school. He was the DC there for a while when things were a little better.
Good recruiter too.
Right. And they had some bad apples in that locker room. And he turned over the roster pretty good. 28 transfers came in, 100,000 fans. Like you mentioned, I mean, do we really know Riley Leonard's ankle is 100%? I got to go with A&M laying 3 or fewer.
All right, B, the marquee matchup of the weekend, LSU, USC. You like a side? You like a total there? What are you feeling about the highlight of the weekend?
Yeah, so I went over 63. It's 64.5 now. Obviously, I like it better at a key number of 63. But, I still think it's over as the play. I mean, Miller Moss, his starting debut, 372 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 42-28 win over Louisville at the Holiday Bowl. Outside of its 2 group of 5 opponents in Stanford last year, USC gave up the following scoring outputs: 28, 41, 41, 48, 34, 49, 52, 36, 38, and 28. LSU's defense was bad for LSU standards last year, too. Obviously, the offense lost 3 first-round picks, but I think Nussmeier is going to be good. He was fantastic in the second half against Wisconsin in the bowl game. He was good against Georgia in the second half of the SEC championship game a couple years ago, and they've still got good receivers. And, I think both defense. I mean, they got new coordinators, but I question both defenses, and I think both offenses are going to remain prolific, even though they lost the number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft at the QB position.
Hey, any dilemma for you wanting a change at the top, but not wanting to root against your Gators? This is definitely doable. The line stinks for as high as everybody is on Miami, and as much as Florida's got guys on the proverbial hot seat, it's still just a key number 3 game. Like, that doesn't seem right. I get the rivalry thing, but the perception surrounding both programs couldn't be more ominous.
Yeah, I've got a small opinion on the Gators. If you can get 3. So Cristobal's been a favorite 14 times since he got to Miami. 4-10 against the spread, but 2 of the 4 covers, one was at home to Bethune-Cookman, the other one was at Temple, and then whether favorite or dog under Cristobal on the road, Miami's 5-5 straight up, 4-6 against the spread, all 5 losses by 7 or more, and Napier remains pretty good as an underdog, only 8-6 against the spread at Florida, but overall in his career, going back to Louisiana, 31 times he's been an underdog. 20 spread covers, 10 L's, and 1 push. And I think Florida's got the quarterback advantage. Cam Ward, I think is getting way too much hype, and he's dealing with, a lot of new teammates and, where's their chemistry this early in the season? I know he played in the Pac-12, and I know that the fan base is down, but there's, at this point in the year against a hated rival like Miami, with 0 in the L column, I think the Swamp will be as electric as, normal, considering, start of the year and everything. I think Florida wins outright, but again, it's a small opinion. Y'all know I'm not very bullish on. What a battle of coaching savants here, huh?
Like, you can't be cheering for Napier's demise, can you?
Not against Miami.
Okay, it's a gauntlet of a schedule, Bill. Just win Miami, and then feel free to act accordingly.
Yeah, you do you the rest of the year.
Real quick here, B, before we let you go, there's a season win total matchup that you like. So basically, you're taking the win total of one team versus the win total of another. Ole Miss versus Miami. Why do you like that one?
Well, I just, Cristobal is less than 500 at Miami. Kiffin is killing it. He's got his best team. He's got the Ole Miss and Missouri have the easiest schedules in the SEC. Ole Miss minus 135 in a season total matchup against Miami. And then just a reminder, season win totals I like. Ole Miss over 9.5, Missouri over 9.5 at plus money, Iowa over 8 or over 8.5 at plus money. I think they win at least 9, maybe 10. And some other ones I've got small opinions on. Texas State over 8.5. I know I like A&M this week, but their schedule's brutal. I like under 8.5 on A&M, and small opinion on under 5.5 on South Carolina. And then FanDuel's got passing yards props on Carson Beck, Jackson Dart, and Brady Cook. I like all 3 over. I think the only fear of an L there is injury. And those totals are for Dart and Cook, it's like 2,925 and then 2,950 for one of them. And Carson Beck is 3,150. And he had like, it's like 3,800 or 3,900 last year. And might play another extra game this year.
If people listen to me, they could have gotten Iowa at 7.5 like a month ago. B, we appreciate you're
correct on that.
We appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, fellas. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks,
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
There's different ways to do it. Some people meet and practice on Sundays. Some people meet and practice on Mondays. I think we're going to go that Monday route and try to get them healthy, and then try to hit the ground running, have some stuff ready for them Monday as we can move forward. A lot of stuff, particularly with the quarterbacks, they have to do a lot of stuff on their own, because we just have limited amount of time to meet and, to give them the information. So a lot of the times we'll make cut-ups for them and that they can watch them. We can type in like our little cues, coaching points. They'll watch it. Hey, this is what coaches they can hear versus this coverage, or there's this blitz, how are we blocking this protection? And, they'll do a little of that on their own and hopefully have some questions once, we formally can come in and start meeting with them. And then from then, that base downs is say like Tuesday, right? 1st and 10, then third down would be Wednesday, and then red zone Thursday, and then just kind of progress through there. And then Friday, you're kind of in walkthrough mode, kind of polish. And before you know it, meeting Friday night and let's go Saturday.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We will be joined shortly by our friend Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7 here in a minute, whenever he decides to join us, just whenever.
Is that my opening?
Whenever you want. I mean, you can talk about whatever you want.
I don't know. I just was thinking about why before Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, was he so secretive? Like he didn't even want you to talk about his dog or know about his dog.
Now his dog's throwing out
first pitches. Dog's just throwing out first pitches, man. I'm like, what did we go through all the drama for, huh? Shohei? Huh, Shohei?
Some people just like the drama.
It's not the kind of dog I envisioned him having either.
What do you think he had?
I don't know. Something not like that.
I was expecting like a small dog.
It wasn't a big dog.
No, it was like a medium. It's a medium size. I was expecting for some reason, I imagined him with like a purse dog.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know why.
Guys that rake like that don't have purse dogs, Ravi.
He seemed kind of
Stop it.
peculiar. So I thought maybe he'd buck the trend a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, you definitely didn't see him with like a Rottweiler.
No.
Or like a Mastiff or
No
Great Dane.
No Canes.
Thought maybe like a Shih Tzu.
Speaking of guys that rake, we got Bruntz.
Oh, Bruntz, sweet swinging, Michael Bruntz.
Michael Bruntz, Electra 24/7. What's up, Bruntsy?
Not much. How you guys doing? You talking dog?
We're talking Shohei, and well, Shane apparently is letting me believe your splits are like 325, 834, 960s. Shane Bruntz rakes like that?
You got a 1700 OPS? Is that what DB just gave you?
That's true. If I had a 1700 OPS, I would not be talking to you right now. So
I know. Be getting tickets to see where you're playing.
Bruntz, if you had to guess what type of dog Shohei Ohtani had, just by vibes, what would you have guessed?
Like a Shar-Pei? Does he have like a Shar-Pei?
He does not.
No?
He's got just kind of what was that even?
I don't know. It looked like a little Scotty.
Oh, it wasn't a Scotty. It was like a Spaniel.
Yeah.
A spaniel.
Like a little cocker.
Yeah, or like a King Charles. I think it was a King Charles.
He said
Spaniel.
he pictured Shohei as having a purse dog.
Yeah, like a Shih Tzu. I thought he was like
he carries it everywhere.
like in a backpack.
Yeah.
I thought maybe
I could see that.
See?
What? So what's why can't he be rocking like a Mastiff or something?
He's not a big dog guy, I could tell.
Yeah, he doesn't have big dog energy.
He doesn't.
Oh, that's a thing now. Big dog energy. That needs to be a T-shirt as I'm rolling around with my two Frenchies.
Seems about right. You can put those in a backpack if you really wanted to.
Yeah. Hey,
hold on. I got to do one more Shohei thing with Bruntz here. Speaking of OPSs, okay. So as you know, I'm sure you know, Bruntz, Shohei is a 40-40 member, the fastest to get there by like 25 games. Would you like to guess statistically how that season would match up with Barry Bonds?
I'm guessing not well.
It would be his 11th best season.
That's crazy.
11th.
Yeah.
It's laughable.
I love just staring at Barry Bonds' baseball reference. It makes me so happy.
It's crazy. Like I certainly, the home runs you could appreciate at the time, but like I did not appreciate just like all the other stuff at the time, like the OPS, the walks, like everything, like how that just adds up. Like Barry Bonds is one of those guys where like if you told me a Barry Bonds stat, you would have to get like extremely outlandish for me to think that you were lying to me. Like I don't even know what you would say. I'd be like, no, I don't think that's true. I would probably go with about any Barry Bonds stat that you throw at me.
I think his best or his best on base percentage year was like 600.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds made up. That sounds like that's like a mediocre OPS.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, like I said, I mean, I think you'd have to really get out in the weeds to make me think that you were lying to me.
Bruntz, if you're me, and it's like HBO, right? We're going to help a brother out hour since Ravi's constantly getting under my skin. Would you rather be me in facing Tyson Terry tonight, or would you rather be me and knowing Russell Wilson is my starting quarterback?
Those are your two choices.
Feels like the definition of a lose-lose there. Not to bring everything back to Moneyball, but it kind of feels like the question of like, would you rather be shot in the head or shot 5 times in the chest and bleed out? Like that's what that question feels like.
Man, it's just trying to be encouraged today, Brunsey. Now's your chance.
I think having gone through it a couple times, I think you kind of know what you're going to get with old Russ, and I think you can kind of count on mediocre quarterback play there, so you know you got that. And I think you take your hand at trying to do whatever you possibly can to block Mr. Terry. And good luck on you. So
maybe run the other way. That would be my suggestion. Go the other way.
Well, the funny thing is we don't even run trap, so we're gonna have to block him at some point.
Yeah.
Is it too late to put in trap?
It's too hard. It doesn't fit with our offense.
I'm imagining on a grease board somewhere deep in the Westside football offices. There's on a board written, "We should maybe block him sometime." Like that. That's key number 2. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to maybe block him tonight.
Do you guys remember the catalyst for this whole question was HBO, right? Like, I don't feel like I got much help.
We can only do so much with the facts, DB.
Wow, couple Mustang guys. Hey, well, best wishes against Millard West for you two tomorrow night too. How about that, Russ? Are you going to watch any games? What are you going to do tonight besides Colorado and NDSU?
Well, where are you guys playing? I think I'll probably be there.
We have North. We are at Westside, but it's early though.
Aware.
They moved us to 4 at Westside.
It's at Westside.
Yeah,
Bruntz.
I know. I was planning to be there at 7. I don't know that I'm going to be there at 4, but
shoot, we didn't want to be there at 4.
Yeah, I didn't realize yesterday that it was supposed to rain today and lightning and stuff. So I was that was a surprise to me when teams started moving games. I was hoping you guys would keep yours at 7 and just
wait it out.
Hope that Butch Hug didn't roll in.
See, now I feel like we're back on the Russell Wilson, Tyson Terry thing. It's to feel better, bro. Like, why would you want me there till 10:30 tonight, waiting out a thunderstorm
on a school night, no less?
Yeah, exactly. And I got to turn around and work with this yahoo tomorrow morning. How about that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, the other guy.
Yeah, Shane is a handful.
So Bruntz, let me ask you in all seriousness, as we're getting close to this game week. Fatigue maybe isn't the right word, but are you over or ready to talk about something different than the quarterback situation, or for you, it's that or bust?
I mean, I'm eager to see things. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at. It's this. I don't know if this off season has felt a lot longer than other off seasons. I think part of that is just the anticipation of what this is actually going to look like. I'm eager. I'm eager to have some discussion points about certain position groups that are more based on like what's actually happened rather than like the differing perspectives on how people think things are going to go. Like, I want to have like a substantive conversation about what the running back picture is, based on like guys carrying the football, like that doesn't seem.
I want to see some things.
Right. Like tell me all about how things are. Like show me how things are. I mean, I want to see this defensive line. I want to see if the wide receivers are what, we think they can be. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, it's right about like week 3 of fall camp is usually where I just kind of get tired of it.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, oh, well, how do you get tired of it? I mean, the season's coming up. It's like, well, we've talked this to death. And I think that's the one thing around here that makes it tough sometimes is like, we've been talking about wide receivers every day since April. Like, like we're finally close to Christmas morning. Let's get opening the presents already.
Get on with it.
Bruntz, let me ask you this then. Is there something, and I know that we've had a lot of time to talk between last year, spring, and now. What is there something you don't think we've talked about enough that you're actually pretty interested in seeing? Like, is there something we've missed?
Well, I mean, I think special teams is a concern until it's not. And I think that it's also one of those sections of the game that you can't really talk about a ton, right? Like,
because are they going to make kicks or not?
Yeah, you have. You got to see some things.
A guy is shanking it off the side of his foot, or he's not. A guy's able to get the heck out of the way of a ball at the 5-yard line and not catch it, or he's not. Like that piece of it, we probably haven't talked about enough for how important it's going to be. But I mean, that's just kind of the nature of special teams, I think. So, no, I mean, I think everything's been covered pretty thoroughly to this point. And somebody said something to me the other day, which kind of blew my mind, and I didn't really think about it this way. But the last offensive play that Nebraska ran was the pick the Chubba Purdy pick.
Yeah.
Like, just think about how much things have changed in the last 9 months, 10 months since that one play. Like, it's kind of remarkable, and I think that's kind of why I'm eager to kind of see what this is actually going to look like, because so many things are different. But let's see how different they actually are.
Okay, so I've been asking this question. I asked it kind of to BC. I think I hit Shafe with it. I asked Mitch Sherman yesterday. Mitch philosophically took it a little bit different, and I was cool with that. But I'll ask you, during the non-con, will you be reaffirmed that Nebraska is really good defensively, or the offense is markedly better than a year ago?
That's a good question. I think
it's hard.
That's a beautiful question.
Yeah, I think just based on that Colorado game, if Nebraska's defense has a good game and is really flying all over the place and plays well against Colorado, I'll feel better about that side of the ball, I think, and what they can be. Because El Paso is going to run a ton of plays on Saturday, or try to.
I hope people don't forget they have a 1,300-yard back.
Yeah, I mean, Northern Iowa doesn't. I don't think we're going to learn much at all from that game. So to me, it's about Colorado and a little bit about Texas El Paso. So if Nebraska is able to bottle up Sanders and, hold down big plays and get off the field when they have to, I think I'll feel pretty good about that, because I think as much as everybody wants to kind of turn their nose up at what Colorado is, he's going to be probably, top 2 quarterbacks that Nebraska is going to see this year. And I think if they're able to bottle him up, I think I'll feel better about the defense being better than what they were last year and being like a potentially elite defense. Because I think even as we get into conference play, if that defense takes another step forward, the offense, there's more wiggle room there for the offense and more time for them to settle in. So I think holistically, it's probably better for everybody if the defense makes that next step early on. So I'll go that direction. I think I'll be more. I'll feel better about the defense and kind of what they can be in 2024 if they go in there and handle business against Colorado.
See, that's thoughtful. I like that, because I think sometimes the easy answer would be, well, the offense was so bad last year. We're so excited about quarterback play. Well, it's got to be offense, right? But then you could make the case that it's not easy on defense too, because statistically, they were so good in so many categories last year. It would be hard to come out and replicate that.
Yeah.
But you look at who's on that side of the ball after the 12 black shirts, and you're like, well, how can they not be at least pretty good? Like, I think it's a tough question, or a tough answer, I should say.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, they were so good statistically in a number of categories, but there's also like some very key areas where they need to be better this year. The turnovers and third down defense. Like if they're better in those 2 categories, like I think they're going to be really hard to run against. I think they're going to be able to really muck things up front for a lot of people on that schedule. And if they can get better in those other areas, I mean, that's where you go to be like a top 10 defense. And, I continue to think offensively, Nebraska doesn't need to be like a top 25 offense. You'd love that. You'd certainly take it if you were offered it today. But if you get to like 65 or 70 from where they were last year and you don't turn the ball over, I mean, I think that's a pretty good recipe for winning ball games.
I was surprised that the total for the game on Saturday is only 48. Doesn't that seem that seems low, right? But it'll probably be about right.
Close.
Yeah. I think on our Hypecast, I think I predicted just a hair over that. It was like, I think I had like 38 or 39 to 11 or something like that. So
God, I went 38-10.
Yeah, so you're in that neighborhood.
Did you got? I was reading a little bit. Do you think that the headset stuff, like, that's going to let El Paso play even faster, right? Like, do we really know how that's going to affect things? I'm eager to see that.
So that's why I think, and you mentioned one of the key stats. That's why I think getting off the field on third down is so important. Like, you just cannot allow a 40 plus or 38, 39, 40% plus conversion rate on third down if you want to get off the field in any reasonable manner. Because again, they got a guy with 230 plus carries from a year ago and 1,300 yards. Like, but all we keep talking about is pace and space and get. There's multiple ways that they can play this thing to make it uncomfortable for Nebraska, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Nebraska's going to have to be really careful in those first couple of possessions of how they handle things too. You know, like, you're going to have to be able to kind of roll with whatever they're showing you that maybe you hadn't seen when you were, watching all these various programs on film and things like that. I mean, I'll be eager to see how they kind of settle in that first quarter and how quickly they can, because I think that can be a challenge. I think whenever you're playing a team that's, new head coach, new system, first game. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, like, it could be a little bit frazzling in that first quarter.
We're talking with Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Bruntz, if I could give you one of either improved turnover creation on the defense or improved third down efficiency on the defense, meaning getting off the field more. So let's say you go from 38 to 30% on defense or on third downs, and let's say you go from what they create 14 turnovers last year to 24. Which one of those would you prefer?
Oh, I think I'd probably take the extra turnovers. I mean, even the percentage that you named there, that percentage, you can win with that percentage, especially if there's turnovers involved. Because, I mean, you kick it up another, what do you say, 10 more turnovers?
Yeah, so basically 2 a game.
I mean, I would take that. I take that, and I'm getting off the field, more frequently. I think I take the turnovers and go with that. I think that's a good number to get to, I think, for them.
Bruntz, when you're like in its totality, are you watching this team week to week, or are you more interested in, this is without revisionist history, this is kind of how you're thinking about it right now, are you bunching or clumping these stretches for Nebraska, or are you kind of a one game at a time for them?
You mean like on the schedule, like, these 3 games?
Yeah, evaluation purposes. Are you like, well, I'll wait till after blank, or can't wait for this? Like, how are you kind of looking at it in your head?
I think the non-conference is I kind of clump it that way in my mind. Week to week certainly, but I think by the end of non-conference play, you'll have a lot more clarity about what that running back picture looks like. I think you'll have
seen some things.
You'll have seen some things. I believe this is a team that like Matt Rule said the other day, that can be playing its best football in November. Like, I think that's certainly possible. So I think you got to be careful a little bit to write the book too much at the end of September. But I think that's kind of an effective milepost to say, like, okay, where are we now? You played one team that, has some really good athletes in some places. You played 2 kind of walkover teams to a degree. And, I think you can kind of start to see who can help you and who can't. There's some guys that are going to have to be depth pieces on defense that you're going to get a good look at them, I think, in 3 games, especially the inside linebackers and how that all shakes out. And special teams too. I mean, I that's kind of how I look at it. Is I'm watching week to week, but the first 3 games I think are kind of the first section of the season that you really kind of have to dig in and see how they are going into conference play.
It's crazy. I prepared myself to evaluate the offense much differently than the defense.
Yeah.
It's like I'm willing. There's like a lot more grace with the offense, even though it's come with some expectations. It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard to be really good young.
Well, I mean, you have to think about the single-digit number picture, right? Like, which
95% representation.
Which side of the
90
side of the ball, based on that?
Come on, Jamie.
That picture, would you expect to be good right out of the gate?
Yeah.
All right, Bruntz, we got like 30 seconds here. Let's get a season win total prediction from you for Nebraska.
I go 8-4 against my.
It's unanimous.
I don't want to drink too much Kool-Aid, but I think 8-4 is an okay number.
There we go. You're in good company with the 8-4 pick.
Yeah, with everybody that we've asked. I'm kind of.
I think it is. I think it's unanimous.
It
so
is.
far.
I'm surprised.
Bruntz, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the college football, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Bruntsy.
Right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Yep.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. Make sure you get to the sports books in Lincoln or Omaha to place your bets. DB. Ravi. We have actual games we can talk about.
Are we going to see some things?
We might see some things.
That's kind of funny. I'm ready to.
Bruntz is funny in general. We like Bruntz.
I'm ready to see some things.
I am also ready to see some things. You know the first thing we're going to see?
What's that?
North Dakota State at Colorado tonight.
Oh, man.
9.5 points for Colorado.
Seems like a lot.
There's been a lot of talk on this here program about Colorado and North Dakota State. Who do you like there? 9.5 points. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't love the number.
I'll take NDSU.
Covering the 9.5? You want them to you win straight up? You think they beat them straight up? No? Just cover?
Yeah.
I am also going to take NDSU to cover. Plus 9.5. Give me the points. I don't trust Colorado to I don't trust Colorado.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a full stop. Just don't trust Colorado.
I don't love it.
I don't either. If I wanted, I don't really love it. Thank you, Brian. I would prefer a bigger number if I'm betting on NDSU, but I think it's too big to feel good about Colorado.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot. I also think this game stylistically, I think it's going to tell us a lot about Colorado and where they've been weak in the past in the trenches. Because like NDSU is going to try and beat you up a little bit. And I think we might learn a little bit about Colorado there.
Well, I think their defensive line is better than I think the public thinks, but I don't know if that's.
I think they might be better rushing the passer. I don't know how they're going to be on run defense, the defensive line. That's kind of where my uncertainty is with Colorado.
I think Cole Payton will have a nice Harburg role. Like he'll be all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would put him on necessarily upset alert though. But I do think NDSU is obviously really, really good. And
they're going to make life miserable.
Yeah.
Whether that turns into a win or not.
Really physical and good in the trenches. I think I like NDSU tonight.
It's one of the strange situations where you actually, I think, can learn something about like a Power 5 team versus an FCS team.
Yep.
Especially, and not just because NDSU is good, but because of what I said, that their strengths line up with what Colorado's perceived weaknesses are. So I think that'll be interesting as well. Let's get to some of the bigger games from the weekend. I know B liked Georgia, the minus 13.5 against Clemson.
As do I.
You like that number too?
I do.
I just don't think Clemson's very good.
Well, and the thing you have to kind of worry about with Georgia is they're going to have to kind of probably turn Clemson over at least a couple of times, or maybe, set something up, because they're built to kind of bludgeon you as opposed to, no, they're capable, obviously, of being explosive, but I mean, they run the ball so much. It might be a little bit of a slow bleed.
There's a little bit of a Michigan last year to Georgia.
But I like them to really deal Clemson fits defensively.
Clemson's just weird. I have no idea what to expect from Clemson. And, I mean, the ACC is weird in general, too, which I'm sure we can get to tomorrow. We'll give you our playoff teams. But the ACC is super weird because I'm looking at that last night trying to figure out, like, okay, I probably would have picked Florida State before week 0 to come out of the ACC. I don't feel great about that now because they didn't look good in places I thought they were going to be good in offensive line and on the defense. So is that fixable? I don't know. That's a concern for me. Clemson, I don't trust as far as I can throw them. I just don't think they're very good. I definitely don't trust Miami, but chances are it's going to be one of those three, or maybe you have a dark horse like NC State come out and win that conference. Like, I don't know what to do with the ACC.
I keep an eye on Louisville.
Louisville's pretty good. Louisville's pretty good.
If you're looking for like a legit
kind of dark horse.
Yeah.
That's what I mean though. I could go, what do we just name, 5 teams?
Yeah.
That could win the ACC, and I don't feel great about any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a pretty unusual position for even the Big 12. Like, there's a couple teams I feel really good about in the Big 12. There might be probably 4 that I think can win it. Utah, K-State, Kansas, Oklahoma State. Am I forgetting anybody?
Utah,
maybe
K-State,
Arizona,
Kansas, Oklahoma State.
Who am I missing?
Maybe Arizona.
I really like Arizona this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, there's 5 teams there, but I feel better about at least 4 of those 5 teams than I do any of the teams in the ACC.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about Utah.
You talking about winning the conference or being a better team? Because I'm not so.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not so sure they're. Like, I don't know if I would take Kansas over Miami, for instance.
No.
You mean in relative to winning their conference?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have more confidence in what I think they'll be. Because, like, Miami, more talented than Kansas, more talented than Kansas State, more talented than.
I mean, if K-State played FSU tomorrow,
I think we might see a very similar game to what we saw at Georgia Tech versus Florida State.
But I think you'd like FSU in that.
Oh, maybe not after what I saw last week.
Yeah, you're PTSD. That's a good. They're going to be okay.
Honestly, it's not just that they lost.
Well, but I'm pitting you haven't seen K-State play yet, though.
I haven't.
Right, so that's.
But I have more confidence.
That's the PT. That's because you've seen FSU.
Yeah, I mean, we're working from different information sets here, right?
Right.
But I have more faith in, compared to like a Miami, less than an FSU. But like, I have more faith in what Kleiman's going to do at Kansas State than what I do Cristobal's going to do at Miami.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to be okay, where Miami is a total crapshoot to me. I have no idea what's going to happen there, because that's kind of what Miami is. There's a consistency in the Big 12 programs that I feel better about with a Kansas State. Like, I feel like I know what I'm going to get from a Leipold team.
Yeah. You know what I think a lot of it has to do with?
What's that?
At least this is what I hear. Conference affiliation. You're more familiar with what you're getting in the Big 12 relative to what you're going to get out of the ACC.
I don't know if I'm more familiar. Like, I watch a lot of ACC because of Florida State.
No, I'm talking about in terms of expectations, the usual suspects.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen it more recently.
Because you wouldn't just suggest Okie State, except for, this is pretty much what Okie State does.
Yeah, the Gundy factor.
Yeah, in the Big 12.
I trust that Gundy's going to figure out how to get that team to 9 wins, and then maybe if they're a little bit better than that, maybe they get to 10.
They have it. They have a game. They have a game for me where there's 2 teams that if they play a certain way, I'm going to drastically change my expectations.
Which 2?
Okie State is one, and Penn State and West Virginia is the other.
Mm.
If Penn State lays the wood
to West Virginia, because you think West Virginia is pretty good.
Yeah.
So if they go out and beat
I
their
think
heads
they'll
in,
run. Yep.
then you feel really good about
that.
Penn
Will
State.
Definitely get my attention.
So what does it change for Oklahoma State against SDSU?
Because I think I want to know how Okie State's defensive line, because quietly they've been a good defensive team in that conference relative to the conference the last handful of years. So if they can handle SDSU's O and D line convincingly, I would be impressed, because schematically, you watch SDSU run the ball, they do a lot of different things up front, and they play big boy football on that D line.
Yeah, they get after it.
Yeah,
that doesn't look like an FCS line,
but it's a big number. Like it's like
17.
No, it's like 9.5.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
17. There's no way.
Now
they may, if they win by 17, that'll be something. I think it's.
Oklahoma's ranked 17. It's 9.5. It's the same as Colorado and DSU.
So there's like those 3 games, like PSU, West Virginia, like all those games are like 8.5, 9.5,
8.5, 9.5. Yeah, I think that's Oklahoma State's interesting, and you're right. I am giving them the benefit of the doubt because of Gundy, and that's just what they seem to figure out how to do every year.
I think you hold Leipold in Kansas relative to that conference in higher regard than you do, like, let's say, Sweeney in the ACC.
It's Sweeney and Cristobal for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think
I
think that's some of what, and that's fair though, right?
Yeah.
It's not an indictment. It's just,
no, that's what I'm doing though.
You guys always pull the rug out from under me.
I trust Kleiman, Leipold, Gundy more than I trust Cristobal and Sweeney at this point.
That's what I hear.
I think that's totally fair. Yeah. But those 2 conferences are going to be super tricky in terms of figuring out who we think represents them, because there's a lot of options.
You know who I think the points are a gift and they went outright?
Who?
USC.
Ooh, yeah. You're not sold on Nussmeier?
Nope.
And you're not sold on the defense being better?
At no point did I look at Nussmeier and be like, oh, man.
That's that guy.
Now, he may prove me wrong, but I haven't seen it yet.
More confidence in Miller Moss?
Lincoln Riley.
Fair enough. That's Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Make sure you get out to Warhorse Sportsbook. No bets, no glory.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Yeah, I think at Nebraska, we always have to go more national, but I think opening up California for us is a really good fit. You know, Nebraska for years, some of the best players that played for the Huskers in the heyday came from California. So those guys knowing they can always go back home and play a game or two a year is gonna be helpful. I think schematically, stylistically, we'll have to see. I mean, the weather is such a factor. Now travel's a factor in this conference, and it's really like being in the NFL.
Wrapping up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where, again, you can join us tomorrow morning for a little breakfast.
Breakfast.
Little breakfast, little sports talk show.
What do you think we're serving? Do we know?
Somebody
knows. Aren't you like
I've got a list
business
here.
Director or something? Like, don't you have a big title?
Not of the restaurant.
Well, I mean, you're in the know.
I don't do restaurant stuff very often. There's going to be some different options. I heard a rumor there might be some biscuits and gravy on the table.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a breakfast burrito, if I recall.
Burrito.
Me likey.
Are you a burrito guy?
I like a breakfast burrito.
Where's that rank on your choices?
I do really like biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy is pretty high for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some different options. Got some scramble.
If I took my family to breakfast, I know what's going to happen.
I do really
There's going to be an order of pancakes. There's going to be a chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak is Micah?
Yep. No. It's Caleb.
Oh, okay. Caleb's in college. He's not going with you anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just stay current. Well, then it gets easy.
Let's go, baby.
Who's the skillet guy?
That's gonna be Micah.
Yeah. Who's the burrito person?
That's gonna be Jay.
Yeah,
because she's Hispanic.
I know that was some snarky comment about me, but
yeah, whatever.
Exactly.
No, it's because she
100%. That's what I would say.
At Caleb's graduation thing, she was talking about how people always think she's Hispanic.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah. And she does. It is like a Mexican Santa Fe type.
It's like
thing.
It's like a thing that.
That's what she'd put in there.
That's
and then, what would I eat?
Just bacon.
Mm-hmm. And eggs.
All the breakfast meat.
That's what I had last night for dinner. 2 sausage patties, 6 strips, and 3 eggs with Greek yogurt.
Yeah,
I don't know. There could be bacon involved.
I don't know. We might have to make sure that they set some food aside for us to make sure that we actually get something.
Yeah, because I don't eat while I'm working, and and I don't have to like technically work.
Yeah.
After tomorrow, so I'll probably eat something because I won't eat a thing.
We need to make sure they hold something aside for us.
I need to go see my guy at Elite Nutrition. Too, by the way. Yeah, I got to get my.
You need a little pick me up.
Well, and he's really good at letting me know, like, this bar is more for a meal. This bar is more for this.
Like a snack, a little fuel.
Yep. And he does, like, these little sample packs of pick-me-ups for me. So I just let him kind of mix and match and do his thing.
Sasha says she'll get us a plate to make sure we get
a plate,
get all set up.
Oh, yeah. She's such a babysitter.
I mean, with us two, you kind of got to be.
I feel like we should be a little more all growed up. I'm still laughing at Bruntz with
I want to see some.
I want to
things.
see some things. Like
my favorite was he goes, I want to see what the running backs, after they actually carry a football.
So can you imagine? Because immediately, this is what happens in the offseason to game one. I think that's why JB was so excited about like this week because of the optimism. Because you haven't seen a thing.
Yeah, you got nothing bad to say.
You just want to know. Okay, I saw this in, chasing 103. I heard this and this. So that's what everybody's going to be doing real time.
Is they're going to be checking what they see with their eyes versus what they've heard all offseason.
Yeah.
Or what they saw in the spring.
How soon when you were watching FSU were you like, you were either like, this is a lie or, man, that damn DB, he's pretty smart.
I was immediately concerned about the defensive line.
With the response drive after being up 8-0?
Yeah. I was immediately concerned. I wasn't concerned about the offense until a little bit later because they started off running the ball so well. I was like, okay, they'll go back to that. It'll be fine. And then,
but that was kind of my narrative, right? I was like, oh man, just run the ball.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't run the ball.
Yeah. That's what's so concerning to me, because if you're going to get away with,
I was shocked.
If you're going to get away with Captain Checkdown being your starting quarterback,
just continuing the slander of DJU.
It's not slander if it's true.
Well, let him rip it.
Apparently, this is what Norvell said, that he didn't have the reins on the play calls. Those were the throws that DJ decided to make. That's a thing that Norvell said last week. He said,
now we're going with Captain Checkdown.
DJ made the throws he thought were there.
T-Mac.
So what am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I ain't messing with you anymore, Terrence. I'm done.
That's funny.
He's got it.
But that is eerie.
It is a little bit, yeah.
I think he sent me that a couple years.
I thought that was.
I forgot he had that in his bag.
It took me a second to realize that wasn't her.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
He's got jokes. Hey, so clap back at him because you were mad at what he said to you, and
I don't remember what he said now.
He said some people. He was talking about drum lines, and some people are snarky to the bands.
Yeah. So when I was making that analogy, we need to not lose the larger point for the finite details, right? I'm all about being specific, but A, I was talking about high school, first of all. And B, I understand there is a segment of the population that cares more, especially at certain universities, like the HBCUs especially. Like, that's a big deal, the bands and the drum. I get it.
Why'd you say HBCUs?
Because that's generally where the bands are a bigger deal.
It's not because T-Mac's ethnicity?
No. If you want to talk about bands, like, I saw the Nick Cannon movie. Like, I'm...
Oh!
I don't know. There's one out west, Huskies band. I mean, people could.
Stanford.
No, they get out on the field. You got to watch out for them. They interfere with games. The band is out on the field. Yeah, be careful there.
T-Mac's gonna get you.
With what? What's he get?
His words.
I mean, am I wrong that typically if you're going to find a place where they care more about the band than the football, it's going to be an HBCU?
So my man, and by the way, to reset, we're talking about the vitriol
that's reserved
that athletes get with performances. And
we got to talk about high school.
You gave an analogy that a lot of people don't get after, like bands, and I use national anthem singers.
Because I was in that specific context, I was talking about how, especially with high school kids, because I find it particularly out of line with high school, is for a lot of kids, sports are just an activity.
Yeah, my man TJ,
right?
He screenshot me some things that they're saying about kids.
Yeah, that's wild.
And you know the funny thing? This is 8/27/24. Like, this is recent.
Yeah, that's literally 2 days ago.
Huh.
But my point is, for a lot of these kids, whether it's whether it's football, basketball, whatever, in high school especially, it's just an after-school activity. Like, it's not their future. It's not this thing that's like, yeah, I'm sure they work hard still. I'm sure the guys that you have on your team that are just high school football players still work really hard.
Yeah.
But for them,
Nick Anglem,
it's an after-school activity. It's an extracurricular. It is not their future. It is not their life. It is not something that they're investing in the same way that you do when you're going to go play Division I football or you have dreams of playing the NFL or whatever. Like, it is important to them. They work hard, but it's an after-school activity. It's an extracurricular. And so that was my point with the band specifically, is we have vitriol for these kids because they're playing a sport that we don't have for the debate team or the band or whatever else, or even like the swim team, right? Even other sports we don't talk about in the same way. It's like, Jenny, the decathlete, really didn't perform this week. Like, we think we should get after her, tell her she should go kill herself. Like, no, that's not a thing that happens.
Can you believe Elsa with that debate? Oh,
that's what I mean. Like,
no,
what a terrible argument you made.
I understand.
You know, like this is we need to have a better perspective about what this is, especially like I get it gets a little more complicated when you get into college and the NFL and what are the pros when people are making money and it is a bigger part of their lives and personality. But like if you're talking smack to high school kids, like go to counseling. I don't know what to tell you. Like go get therapy. I don't have another way to put it. It's a you problem. Go get help. Because
Inside Out 2 was about somebody that was in high school.
There's not a single good reason to get after a high school kid like that. Not a single good one. And there's a lot of bad ones, and they all start with you probably need to go get some therapy. Like that's
just want to see some things.
That's different. Talking about college.
I got you.
I want to see some things. I want to see people actually carry a football.
I mean, at what point will Dowdell get a carry? I want to see some things.
I don't know. On my NCAA football game, Dowdell was pretty good. So
is he?
Yeah.
What's his overall?
I don't remember what his rating is, but he's trucking people.
Is he?
What does that mean?
Yeah. It's a little bit slow on the acceleration, but once he hits top speed, pretty good.
Yeah.
But he'll run some people over.
That's kind of like real life. That's realistic.
I think so.
Yes, indeed.
They did a pretty good job with it. He got after it, though. Yeah, it's some big games for me.
Who gets the first carry?
Right.
Who gets the first carry?
There's got to be some props out there on that.
Who gets the first carry? Is it even a running back?
Dylan Raiola, jet sweep, Ja'Cory Barney, Jalen Lloyd.
I was thinking Jalen Lloyd on a jet sweep.
Little shovel pass to
Tomas
Fedoni.
Shovel pass is a pass, not a carry. DB.
Oh, that's right. How about a hand sweep?
Just like that little handoff.
Yeah.
No, you got to be smart. So you pitch that thing ahead a little bit, so you get the passing yards for that.
I'm telling you. I hope it's just a hard, heavy run fake out of some crazy 12 or 13 personnel and just get vertical off the bat for like 60.
Give me like 2x2 tight. Give me an action from a tight end in motion. Give me a play action.
Let
fake.
Borgature just hit down the hash.
Give me a Raiola boot and hit that thing down the seam.
The place will go bananas.
Oh, people will lose their
The headset
minds.
communication will be like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
He's gonna be it's gonna be like Lane Kiffin. Throw that play sheet up in the air, off to the races, baby. Buckle up. It's gonna be fun. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll see you tomorrow morning here for the live show.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.